Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
I hate the Yankees.
Yeah.
I wanted those to be the first three words on today's show. I can't stand that team. I can't stand their fans. I can't stand their players. You got to tip your cap to them.
What are you going to do?
They did it. They got it done, and the Guardians did not. Welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on a gloomy, disappointing, season-ending Wednesday. And we don't have much to root for with our football team right now. Thank goodness that the Cavs are ready to tip it off.
The Guardians, if nothing else, took us straight to the Cavs.
Yeah, that's right. We can just shift our focus to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Y'all got to cut this out.
We need therapy.
The Browns is not – they're down, but they're not out. So,
okay, you're gonna have to pick up our spirits on that one. Because they're not out. They're staring 2-6 right in the face.
If they're 2-6, they're out.
If they're 2-6, they're out.
Well,
but right now,
if you can convince me that this club can beat Baltimore and Cincinnati, my mood will automatically get better.
Well, Baltimore's not playing well right now.
It's more about Baltimore and Cincinnati are not playing as well either, rather than the Browns are playing.
You're right. It's funny. We thought the AFC North was going to be the best division in football.
Right.
It doesn't look like it.
Look at the AFC West, too.
I know.
Right? The Broncos have looked awful, and the Raiders have looked awful.
The Chargers even haven't looked great.
The Chargers look mediocre. The Chiefs have been good, but that was supposed to be the best division.
We should have beat the Chargers, and quite frankly, the Chargers got lucky against the Broncos. They easily could have lost that game,
it was an awful game.
What we learned is you can't go off of paper rosters.
Man, that's so true.
Yeah.
Bull was screaming that. Bull kept saying, you guys are assigning to all of these teams on the Browns schedule that they're going to be what they were in 2021.
Yeah.
And the lesson so far this season is there's been no carryover.
And we should know that because every year there are teams we expect to be good that aren't.
Yes.
And every year there are teams we expect to be bad that are not.
I think this year is the first year that I can remember, and we're going to get to the Guardians in just a second.
Yeah.
This is the first year in a long time where there are more teams where there was no carryover than there were teams that had carryover. I think the Chiefs and the Bills had carryover.
Right.
Yeah.
The Buccaneers did not.
Nope.
The Packers did
None
not.
of the good teams
the
in the
Bengals
NFC.
did not.
No.
Rams did not.
Up and down. The Rams certainly did not.
Well,
so this is the most surprising first 6 weeks of a season I can remember in recent memory.
But if you study football, you know that at the beginning, it's kind of wishy-washy, but it's going to be some teams that's going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And once you figure out who you are as a team.
And you think the Browns could be in that
They
group?
could be there. They can. They
can't be that the way they're playing.
Not right now.
They
have to.
They have to exercise themselves of the team that they've been the first 3 weeks.
But if they beat Baltimore, we're going to have a whole different attitude.
All of a sudden, we're all optimistic again.
All of a sudden, now you're going to that Cincinnati game.
I have a smile on my face.
Right? If they beat Baltimore, now you're like, okay, we play Cincinnati this week, we win, we're in first place. So.
Yeah, you're right.
You're
right.
They just got to beat Baltimore. The Cincinnati game, it's so much animosity from, Jamar Chase and the G New thing.
No, that's true.
So
that
you ain't going to need no energy for that game.
And
it's on Halloween, and it's a Monday night game. So it's going to be
And it's here.
They have to beat Baltimore.
So here's where I am.
Yeah.
I haven't thrown the shovel of dirt into the hole yet, but the shovel has dirt in it.
Yeah, if they lose to the Ravens, then we put the dirt on.
Okay, that's fair. So I'm in a holding pattern now.
It's a must-win game.
Yes, it is.
If they lose to the Ravens, then the only thing that matters this season is seeing Deshaun Watson and what he looks like.
You're right.
Hoping for next year.
Yeah, you're absolutely right at what we could get out of him. Okay, big show today.
Guardians
recap. We're going to do Browns talk with Leroy Hoard coming up at 11:30. We have been challenged by our fearless leader, McNuggets, to get Leroy off the air by noon because we've got a busy second hour of the show. Now, here's the challenging part of that, okay? He said the last question we can ask Leroy is 11:52. That's the only way we finish.
He said 11:55, and then I said.
Oh, okay.
You compromised. I said 11:55. Bull said 11:53. We compromised. The last question we will ask Leroy is 11:54.
All right.
We got.
And we will see if that means he's off the air at 12. We love you, Leroy.
Yeah. We do. We do, but he can filibuster.
Yeah. Better than any politician.
That's his name, Phil A. Buster.
Hold us to it, chat. We ain't asking no questions at the
But we do love him.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know where G. Bush is today.
Yeah, we're a little worried about
We
him.
are
Yeah,
a
we
little
actually
concerned.
are. This is not a joke, guys.
Yeah.
We
No,
actually don't
this
know
is
where
not
he
a joke because normally if he has some neck and arm issues
Right.
from his playing days, he's had a lot of surgeries and there's been a lot of days where he's just woke up and he says, I just can't go.
Yeah.
Normally he lets us know that.
Always, yeah.
It's 5 minutes after 11. He wasn't on the morning call this morning.
Right.
We haven't really heard from him because typically if he's not going to be here, he would almost
Right.
always call.
Always. And
so
he did
there's concern here. I don't know where the heck
only
he
good news is there was a text from him at 8:30 this morning that he sent to me, Earl, and Steve about our post game last night.
Yes.
So I did see that.
And we've all tried to call him, but it goes right to
right,
voicemail.
it's going right to voicemail when we've tried to call him. So, G,
So-
if you're out there,
Yeah,
we're
please
worried
call
about
us.
you. So
We're worried for
connect
sure.
with us.
Also today, no fence riders, but this is
Yeah.
Cavs edition. That's
Yeah.
going to be fun.
Yes.
So it's kind of like the season preview. We're going
Yes.
to take a macro look at what we think the Cavs will be
Correct.
this year.
Yeah.
But we got to start with the Guardians, and they're very disappointing. 5-1
Yeah.
loss yesterday. Can't say it wasn't fully expected when the season started. Nobody thought they would make it this far. Even when they were in the series with the Yankees, there was optimism, but nobody thought that they were realistically going to be able to hand it to this team. But then they went up 2-1, and I think it changed our viewpoint.
Your expectations change as the season goes.
Yeah,
right?
true. Yeah.
You know, if before the season I would have said, Jay, the Guardians are going to go to the playoffs, they're going to beat the Rays, they're going to lose to the Yankees in 5, you would have probably
Sign
said,
me up.
wow, what a season that
Yeah.
would be.
Tito said he would jog to New York
Exactly.
for Game 5 if he
Exactly.
had known that.
So, but in the end, when they lose the game after losing 4, after being up 2-1,
Crushing.
it's hard to feel good about the season in the moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
We will look back and say, what a season.
Yeah.
But in the moment, it's tough.
And I was able to do that last night. I was able to say, wow,
Yes.
none of this was expected. They gave
Right.
it was bonus baseball, really.
was.
And it was fun. But this is what kills me more than anything. And I know it's coming. We saw it in real time last night on social media. The decision of the series was who Tito was going to start in Game 5.
Yeah.
And clearly, and it is what it is, he made the wrong call.
Yeah.
We're going
Yeah.
to talk
We
about
weren't
that
saying
when we
that
start.
yesterday, to
we
be
weren't
fair.
saying that yesterday.
But,
Now,
yeah.
we have the benefit of the results, so
Sure,
hindsight
of
is
course.
always 20/20.
It was, you know what though? Because I was asked this question when I did Columbus radio yesterday. They was like, Civale's getting the start. How do you feel about that? And I said, to be honest with you, I trust Tito.
Yeah, I did too. I said
Tito,
that too.
he know it better than anybody. And the reason he's so successful is because he always trusts his gut, and it's been
Yeah.
right most of the time.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to doubt him right now. And just.
But you know what,
it
guys?
just-
in
it
the
just
end,
didn't work.
In the end, maybe it would have been different had Bieber pitched or had they started Eli Morgan and just done all bullpen.
That's what they should
But
have
in
done.
the end, they scored 3 runs in the last 2 games.
No, I know.
And that's
They didn't-
not enough.
They didn't get it
That's
done.
it.
You can't win that way.
And they were woeful with runners in scoring
I
position.
mean, you had in the was it what inning was it? They had bases loaded, 1 out when Ramirez came up. Was that the
Fifth.
third, fifth,
Fifth.
fourth? I can't even remember now.
Yeah, I think it was the
They had
fifth.
bases loaded, 1 out when Ramirez gets the sac fly, but they only scored 1 run. And then their last chance was it the 6th or 7th? I can't remember now either off the top of my hed. Rosario Ramirez hits to start the inning, 1st and 2nd, nobody out. They move over 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. You get a hit there, it's a 5-3 game.
Yeah.
Could be a different game.
Yeah.
They couldn't get a hit.
No, that was definitely the difference. In
Yeah.
fact, if you take out the 9th inning of Game 3, this was
Yeah, we ain't scored.
and even in that inning, and
Yeah.
you don't apologize for them because they're liners in the books, but they didn't rip the cover off the ball in that 9th inning.
No.
They were all
No.
dinks and dunks,
Base hits, yeah.
and they manufactured runs, and that was the team's heart showing itself.
Yeah.
I think one thing, and I know the fans don't play the game, but the fans impact what happens on the field, clearly. And I didn't like it in the moment. I hate it even more now. But Naylor and the whole
baby.
rocking the baby.
And you
just
can't get mad at
became-
Yankee fans for picking on them.
No,
today.
Boy, they're awfully thin-skinned, though. My
I
goodness.
mean, our fans would be mad if
I
Naylor
guess.
if Naylor were playing for the Yankees and he had done that, our fans would have been mad too.
Naylor actually cracked a smile
Yeah.
at one point, so at
Yeah.
least he's able to laugh at himself here.
Naylor
but-
said he liked it, and Garrett Cole said he enjoyed it too. They asked
Yeah.
Garrett Cole after.
No,
he
I know.
I kind of
It's
like
gamesmanship.
It is.
Whatever.
I mean,
It's a different game
Yeah.
too. 10 years ago, baseball, it would have been even worse.
I wouldn't be surprised if at some point Naylor takes one from Cole. I mean, it wouldn't shock me down the line.
You know, I don't know. They
think he
won.
that
I don't
mad?
like that. I'm not in favor
You
of that.
think Cole is that mad about it?
Well, you saw his post-game reaction.
Yeah.
His post-game reaction was whatever, but he did
Yeah.
kind of laugh it off too.
He laughed it off and
Yeah.
then said,
And look,
to be honest, it was kind of cute.
They won,
Yeah,
so who cares?
and they
That's what I'm
won,
saying,
so
like,
he has no
yeah.
animus towards
Right.
Naylor now. He
Yeah.
got the last. That's the thing, and we've all played sports, and we all know how to internalize our own excitement in high points and how to internalize our low moments as well. You don't throw your glove when the game's over. You don't flip your bat on a walk-off home run. It's just not good decorum. I got to tell you, I want to hate Aaron Judge. I can't.
Oh, he's not hating.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm
he
about
is
to say,
just
you
not
can't hate him.
hateable at
Yeah,
all.
no.
And when he hits a home run, it's all about business. He puts his head down. He runs the bases. Before he comes to home plate, he does a quick sign of the cross, and that's that. I'm
personally,
fine with that.
I don't mind showboating.
I don't either.
I think that's exciting. I think young fans like that stuff. But then if you lose, it's going to come back in your face. Teams will stick it into
Well,
your fans.
that's what it is.
That's part of it is.
Yeah.
It's trash talk.
But I think the trash talking, like the showboat and stuff, it makes it interesting. You
It
know?
does.
It's
No.
like now you know you got to come with your best. I'm trash talking, so the next time Naylor go against Cole, he gonna throw his best pitches out there, and if Naylor hits him and takes him out the park, then he gonna say I'm just better than you. That's how I look at it.
Naylor actually in that at bat with second and third, one out, hit a bullet right up the middle. And
I
they
know
had
he
it played
did.
perfectly.
Absolutely
You know,
laced it.
if that gets up the middle, it's a 5-3 game.
And in most
you know.
instances, that's clearly a two-run base hit.
It's so funny, Jay. You know this as a longtime baseball fan. When we were kids and you'd watch a baseball game, if you were a diehard baseball fan like you and I are, when the ball was hit when we were kids, we knew off the bat if it was going to be a hit or not.
Yes.
Now you don't know.
You don't because you don't know
never
where
know
the defense
fielders
is
are.
playing. Yeah.
Like that.
But next year, that goes away.
Right.
Thank God.
That Naylor line drive, if we were 15, would have been like base hit up the middle.
And you know what? Next year, that's a base hit up
Yeah.
the middle.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
goodness, because the shift goes away.
Yeah.
The biggest, I mentioned the biggest decision was, I thought, so there's two ways to go yesterday. You could have gone, well, there's three ways to go. You could have gone with Civale. You could have gone with Bieber. Then there's another way.
All
which,
bullpen.
Ball bullpen.
Yeah.
Here's what I do. In an all hands on deck game, I list my pitchers that I know are available. Now, obviously, McKenzie, and for this discussion, Bieber was not available. Bieber should have been available, period. Their guy
Looking
went on
back now,
3-day rest.
yes.
Bieber's our best. I'm going to lose with our best, or I'm going to win with our best. I'm not going to lose with our number 4 starter.
Oh, G texts back.
He said he's okay.
Okay,
I
G's,
don't know what's
is he
going
on his way?
I don't know.
He just said
Okay.
I'm good.
He said I'm good.
Okay, good. G, we're glad that you're good. If you list the starters that are available, all the pitchers that are available, let's go through that right now.
Yeah.
We know Clase is the best, so he's
Right.
number 1 at the list. I'm not advocating that you start Clase.
I got you.
But I'm saying he's your best pitcher.
Right.
I think that Morris, he pitched so well against this lineup. He's going to make my list of pitchers I can rely on. So is Henches. So is Karinchak.
Stefan.
So is Stefan. Now, there's 5.
I would have been comfortable with Morgan, too. I think he's pitched well in the
You
postseason.
could throw Morgan in there.
Yeah.
But where's Civale's name on that
Right.
list?
Yeah.
You know,
because he's not done well against the Yankees.
No, and he was injured most of the year, and Tito
Yeah.
said since he's come back, he's been the guy that we saw in 2021. Well, here's what I knew. I know it's hindsight. It's 2020. When he walked the leadoff hitter on 4 pitches,
Yeah.
You said
I immediately said, and I know, I said pull him.
Yeah.
It would be the shortest start in the history of playoff baseball.
Yeah.
But it was clear to me the moment was bigger than Civale.
It felt that way, even though he did make a very nice pitch to Judge to strike him out on a 3-2 pitch.
He did, but you know what?
That was his only good pitch.
Judge was horrible.
He was.
Until he hit the home run.
Stanton, no, listen, that's all he did.
Right, yeah,
He had
yeah.
2 home runs.
2 home runs on the thing.
Stanton hit 1 something. He had 2 hits and 6 RBI because those 2 hits were home
Yeah.
runs.
In hindsight, Civale was the worst of the 3 choices.
Yeah.
If he wasn't comfortable going Bieber, he should have gone all bullpen. And Eli Morgan would have been a good guy to actually start the game because he's been a starter until this year.
Yeah, no, I know.
And
I know.
I would have, you know, but in the end, they just didn't hit.
No, they didn't.
I'm about to say, at the end of the day, we
Yeah.
And it
fell
wouldn't matter-
short because we left so many people on base, and that was kind of our thing.
The Astros are going to gobble up the Yankees, in my opinion.
How they didn't challenge the Jimenez play. I know Francona said
that one blew me.
They ran out of time, but you run out of time.
So this is not confirmed, but this comes from a really good source inside the organization. On the Sunday night 2 replays,
which they blew,
apparently the teams have access immediately to 4 different camera angles. It's either 4 or 5.
Right.
One of the camera angles was not working for the Guardians. Meantime, Sunday.
Oh, Sunday.
Meantime, all of them were working for the Yankees. This is what I'm told from a really reliable source.
Here come all the conspiracy theorists.
So, because the angle that wasn't working on Sunday just happened to be the conclusive and definitive angle that would have been beneficial for the Guardians to see that in advance.
But what happened
Whether or not that's true, I don't know. I hope someone asks Tito today in the sort of post-mortem last day of the season news conference. Yesterday, it was just blown. Tito said he ran out of time.
Yeah.
Well,
when is that?
You could see it right away. You could see that
on the replay.
And so
that was
the
so
replay,
weird. Rizzo slid in, his glove just kind of stopped.
I know.
It looked like he was out at first.
It did.
But
At real time, I thought he was out. But then he's like, he never got him. He never got him.
No.
And the weird thing was, they were so good on challenges this year. I thought they used it very, very effectively, but it bit them in the playoffs.
I hate the Yankees and the Astros. I will root for the Astros.
I'm all Astros on this one.
But I want the National League team to win the World Series. I don't want the Astros to win the World. I know the Astros will probably win the World Series.
Yeah,
but
they're the
I know
favorites.
our guy Steve Becker's a big Phillies fan.
We can't discount what the Phillies are doing.
No, man.
But
No,
the Phillies are doing it right.
So you
And
with the
unlike the
Phillies.
Guardians, I do like the Phillies because they're. This is going to sound ridiculous.
They got a good lineup.
They have a great lineup.
Yeah.
But they were a wild card team coming in. They were kind of like, if you look at this at the teams that made the playoffs, everybody was quick to say, well, the Guardians may get by the Rays, but the Guardians have no chance. The Phillies were that team in the National League.
Right.
Nobody thought they were going to get past. They've beaten the 100-win Braves.
Yeah.
And now they have a chance to take on another giant, which they're already looking like they're going to, they're off to a
Although the Padres beat a 111-win
Padres slayed the 111-win.
And a 100-win or 99-win Mets team, too.
They did.
They're both surprise teams. I'll root for whoever wins that series to win the World Series.
Yeah, but I hate to call them underdogs because when you look at their payrolls, they're top 5, I think. Both are top 5. Unfortunately for the Guardians, they don't have those big bats in there like the Padres and the Phillies do. It's clear moving forward what the Guardians need. It's very, very clear.
Yeah. Do they do it?
I think they do.
I know we're going to talk more about
it.
This is
I believe that Paul Dolan, he is a shrewd operator. In the years where he hasn't spent, he's made the calculated decision that we're on a 3-year plan or we're on a 5-year plan. Based on what they have coming up through the pipeline again for next year, more prospects still down there.
Yes.
Despite the fact they had 17 have their first major league at bat this year.
MLB.com had the Guardians at the All-Star break as the 3rd best minor league system, and that doesn't include most of the rookies that were on the team.
Right.
It includes,
I understand that.
It includes Arias and the guys.
But it doesn't include Quan and Gonzalez.
No, it does not include.
And by the way, can we lock up Quan tonight?
I would be looking to sign
and Gonzalez tonight.
Gonzalez, Quan, Jimenez, and Rosario. I think Rosario.
I would too. Those 4 are critical.
I'm locking all 4 of those guys. And McKenzie, although McKenzie's body makes me a little nervous that he's going to get injured.
I'm still betting on him long term.
But I would sign all 5 of those guys.
I
love him. Love him.
I do too. But we worry about his frame is so slight.
Yes.
But this is Slim Reaper, man.
He is the Slim Reaper. But
I love him. I'll tell you, Jay. I know we're going to talk more off-season stuff, but give me just in 60 seconds, as I was thinking about this last night, like my ideal crazy move.
Ohtani.
Would be Ohtani. Did you hear me say that?
No, that's mine. That's what I said.
Trade for Ohtani. Now, that's not realistic because you'd have to give up a ton to get him even for 1 year and then he's gone. But let me give you 2 realistic moves that I think the Guardians can make. It'll cost them money, but not crazy money.
Right.
2 short-term contracts that can make big impacts.
And that's what they did in 16 and 17.
Yes, with Encarnacion.
Encarnacion, right. And they also they did that with the Yankees' third baseman, Josh Donaldson.
That's right.
So that's their MO. They're not going to drop $30 million a year for 8 years on anybody.
No.
That is never going to happen.
Let me give you 2 guys that helps the middle of the rotation and your power, and wouldn't cost you a ton of money, and it would be short-term deals. Jose Abreu and our old buddy Carlos Carrasco,
who had a great year.
Yeah, not great, but
He
good.
won 15 games.
Good, solid. The other numbers were just good, solid.
Yeah, but
not, not great, but good, solid.
15 wins, I'll take.
As a third starter, and then you drop Quantrill to 4, you drop Civale to 5, get rid of Plesac, move on from him.
Yeah.
You let Hedges go. If Naylor's ready, okay. If not, find a catcher that's solid. He doesn't have to be the best defensive catcher. Solid that can hit a little.
You can't let Hedges go.
No, he's a free agent.
He's done.
Anthony just got the jersey.
That's true.
Yeah, but he's gone.
You can't.
But Jose
gone.
Abreu.
He was playing in this series because of his arm. Did he throw anybody out?
No, he missed the butt.
I think he was 0 for 5 or 6.
No. But Abreu, Jay, while his home runs were down, like he only hit like 17, 18 home runs, but he still had 40 doubles this year.
Wow.
So, and he gets on base.
Very
he
effective.
never misses time due to injury. I know he's older, but I don't know. And he fits the culture of this team. He's
He does. That's not a bad idea.
You know, I thought about J.D. Martinez, although I think he's a little further off the cliff.
I wouldn't go
going
for
all out
Martinez.
on Tiny.
I think that. Look, I know
if
that's.
they could get on
that
I
would
know
be a
it's not
dream,
going to happen.
but that is not going to happen. But I will say this: I think that, and my point on Paul Dolan, fans want to beat him up and kill him all the time for the low payroll. I've even been critical at times of the payroll.
Deservedly so.
Even coming into this year. Because when they dumped some of the big salaries in Carrasco and Lindor, and they got those cheap salaries in Rosario and Jimenez, we were told by the organization that, don't worry, we're going to reinvest that money. And they did not.
They did not. No.
And now I know they signed Jose, and kudos to the organization for
Which
that.
he left money on the table for them to still do something.
Yes, and that's
certainly.
key. So we talk about the Browns and their salary cap and how they're going to roll some over to next year.
Yeah.
That's a long play move. In the moment, fans hate that.
Yeah.
Go spend it now. Go buy this player.
Right.
Go buy that player. But I think with Paul Dolan, what really bothers me more than anything is when you look at the success of all three of our teams, even with the Cavs and their championship, I just believe that over the last decade, it's been the Guardians. Their winning percentage is the best of all three, and it's not even close because for every year the Cavs had LeBron over the last 10, they didn't have LeBron. So and there were there's two different versions of the Cavs with LeBron and without LeBron under Dan Gilbert.
I would say even longer. I know it hasn't been Dolan the whole time, but for the last 25 years, almost 30 years, the Guardians, the Indians/Guardians have been by far the best organization.
Yes.
That doesn't mean they're not. Just like Terry Francona is a great manager, doesn't mean he doesn't make mistakes.
Sure.
Dolan's flaw is at times he doesn't spend enough. Not all the time.
Right.
In 15, 16, 17, their payroll was reasonable.
Right. And
now
I think
it's got to
and
be up
this is
this
my
year.
hope. This is my hope because Paul is a smart guy, and he has to, before he spends $1, he has to think about it for an hour.
Yeah.
The Yankees, before they spend $1 million, think about it for a second. That's just the reality of it.
Yes.
And all of that being said, over the last 10 years, we've won more than the Yankees.
Right.
And everybody wants to say the Yankees, look at the spending. When was their last World Series appearance?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
2009? Their last win was 2000?
They've only been to the World Series once since 2000.
And so have we.
Yes.
So have we.
Yes.
So the thing of it is, I know it's easy to point at Paul and say the payroll, but I do believe, and I have expectations that this is going to come to fruition, especially because he's taken on some minority owners, which can help with capital.
Yeah.
I believe that they're going to look at the landscape and say, we're really close. We're closer than we thought we would be.
Yeah.
And we do need I think we need 2 bats, not 1, 2. Go out and get the bats, and I agree with you. Short-term, established players who are on a prove-it year, maybe not over 35. I would like to see them 30 to 33. Even sign a guy to a big deal with a second-year option, which is big. So the player would be more likely to lock up for 2 years. Because I believe this Guardians window is way more than 1 year. You've got to sign the 4 core that we talked about.
Yeah.
Have to re-sign those guys. And I do think that, I know the discussion was, what are we going to do with Bieber? You keep Bieber. Bieber's your ace.
Yeah,
Look,
they're going to trade him at the end of next year.
I hope they don't.
Well, I hope they sign
hope they
him.
don't.
But I'm trying. I'd love for them to sign him, but I think realistically, but I think they will keep him for one more year because by the time we get to 24, those young pitchers will be ready to go. Hopefully.
I mean, think about it. How rare is it that your ace gets 1 start in a five-game series?
Yeah.
It almost never happens. And that's what happened to this team.
Yeah.
And it's my firm belief that if Bieber started yesterday, they win. I just believe that.
We'll never know.
We'll never know. But
I think it would have been a different game.
Yeah, for the past couple of games, they started off we started our first inning like down 3 or 2-0, right?
Well, we dug holes. In game one, we took the lead first, I believe.
Yes.
We did dig some holes.
Yeah.
We dug out of them. Obviously, game three was ridiculous how they came back. I was disappointed in some in-game decisions. What was Rosario doing, bunting?
That was terrible.
What was that, Bull?
That was terrible. I don't understand.
I wondered if it was on
You're
his
one
own.
of the 3 best hitters on the team.
Why are you laying
bat.
down a bunt?
Doesn't make it. Like, Quan just got a base hit.
I know. You opened the game with a. And by the way, Quan, he had over 400 for the series.
Awesome.
He was the guy who was most reliable.
Yeah. And kudos to Cortez. I thought he'd struggle on short rest. He didn't.
He pitched
They
his
got
ass
him in
off.
trouble with that bases loaded. He got out of it. He pitched well. And their bullpen did the job.
The one thing that really sticks with me about watching the Yankees this closely for the last 5 games, and this is why they're the Yankees, the Guardians have holes in their lineup. They really do. If you get through the first 5, really, because Jimenez was a ghost.
Yeah.
If you get through the first 5, you can click it to cruise control. The last 3 guys in the Guardians lineup just didn't contribute.
Well, Jimenez was hitting 7th yesterday, but
I know he was. Previously, he was hitting 6th.
They have 3 guys. They have 3 spots in the lineup right now that are close to 0.
And when you're with the Yankees, you got Bader, who led the Yankees in home runs for the series with 3. He's on the back end of their lineup, so there's no working around anybody. There were times yesterday when I said, you can't pitch to him in this spot. I didn't like pitching to Stanton in that spot.
Right.
But you can't, because the guy behind him is Donaldson, and he'll kill you.
The Yankees have a better lineup than the Guardians, no doubt. They do have some holes in their lineup, but they're not as large as the Guardians ones. And the Guardians didn't like Bader is a guy who's not traditionally been that good a hitter.
You can't rely on him to do that.
The Guardians haven't had a guy. The Guardians guys like that didn't like guys like Straw and Hedges didn't
Nobody
have
stepped up.
that miraculous big series or even big game. It's unfortunate. One other guy, I'm just kind of thinking of some free agents. I haven't fully gotten the free agent mode. I'm trying to think of like good guys that could be bargains for the Guardians that are a little younger. Michael Conforto is a guy who was really good for the Mets.
Is he available?
He missed the entire season due to injury.
I know he did. So he might be a bargain.
He is a free agent.
Oh, wow.
So he might be a guy that's looking to sign like a 2-year prove-it deal.
Right.
And I thought this guy was on the verge of becoming an all-star player. And, so that's a guy, and he's still young. He's in his 20s still. So,
yeah. The one thing that I'd say is that they can't, it's got to be a low-risk deal. And by that, I mean it can't be someone that you have to hope turns into something.
No.
It has to be somebody who has done it and has done it for a number of years, and you can almost rubber stamp that production into this lineup.
You know what it sound like? Sound like they need me.
The bottom line is, if you're gonna stick with Miles Straw as your center fielder because he's a great fielder
and I think they should.
Runner,
I think they should.
Then he's got to be the only hole in the lineup.
I agree 1,000%.
He's got to be ninth.
You can't have a Hedges and Straw 8-9 spot.
And then even the other spot, which was Arias and Brennan, those guys weren't ready for that.
No.
Maybe they will be.
I hope so.
At catcher,
if one of those two become the Gonzalez of next year, and I think it's possible that either one could.
Yeah.
If one of those two become the Gonzalez, this team is positioned to compete and make a deep run.
There's no doubt. And I think Oscar Gonzalez might not happen in 23, maybe. Not all these guys are going to be better next year. It just doesn't work that way.
No, you're right.
In baseball, right? I mean, baseball's the weirdest game. Cody Bellinger was like Rookie of the Year, then MVP, and now he sucked for 3 years.
Yeah.
You can't explain it. But I do think Oscar Gonzalez, whether it's this 23 or 24, is eventually going to be a 30-plus home run guy.
I hope so.
He looks like he's going to be that kind of player. Now,
he does.
There's no guarantee.
He's still a little army with his swing.
Yeah, but he's young and raw.
But he'll get it.
But there's a lot of
Gonzalez
potential
showed me that he is not afraid of no moment.
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
No.
When need to, and he is very,
And
very.
In fact, he rises, and he did that in the regular season too. His batting average 6th inning and later, and
That
close
man
and late
clutch.
was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
as
next
a lot of
year,
the Guardians were.
This team will be a lot more seasoned when and if they make the playoffs. I think
You're
they
right.
will, but
couple of final thoughts.
Yeah.
The Yankees for the series, and this proves again this analytic stat, which I hate because I hate that it's a homer or nothing game. The Yankees in the series hit 182.
did they really? I didn't realize
182.
that. Yeah.
They hit 9 home runs.
They got the big homers.
They hit 9
That's not even
home runs.
182.
182. So again, it's proving the metric that batting average means nothing if you can
It's
rely
true.
on the home run. Another thing, careful with your criticism of Tito, and here's why. And there's been a lot of it, and it's warranted, but just be careful because he's had some health issues in the last couple of years. And I don't think for 1 second that this is going to happen. But stranger things in the sports world have happened. I don't want everybody to come down on Tito. This is Tito's fault. This is Tito's fault. This team isn't where they are without Tito.
No chance.
Facts.
And we don't want to find out where they would be without Tito.
No.
We do not want the news conference on Friday of this week to Tito stand up in front of the cameras and say, I've had a hell of a ride, guys, but I'm riding into the sunset.
Anything.
You'd find out real quickly how much you'd miss Tito and the decision that he made in Game 5.
I couldn't agree more. Every manager makes mistakes.
Yes.
No matter how good a manager you are, you make mistakes. But what makes Tito special is the way he relates to the players.
That's it.
The way he motivates players, the way he leads players, the way he encourages other players to lead other players. That's what makes him so special. In-game management, yeah, I mean, there's been some mistakes made here and there. But I agree with everything you said. I will say, though, that, yes, Francona's old at this point, and he's had health problems. However, it seems to me that unless he's just forced to stop due to health, that you're going to have to drag this uniform off this guy.
And I hope that's the case.
Because
he's not the kind of guy to walk away from a team like this.
He played baseball his whole life, and he was in the big leagues. He's been coaching
Yes.
and managing for years. Like, I feel like this guy never wants to retire.
My
but,
fear coming into this season was they didn't sign Jose, and that he would have walked.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you'd look in the dugout without Jose,
Yeah.
this is a 60-70 win team. I'm sorry to say that, but he means that much to this ball club.
But I think he was energized by this young team.
I'm so
I
glad
agree, and I
we-
think he's going to come back, and
the
I
game
hope he
hasn't-
does.
Not like Tony La Russa, the game's passed him by.
Yes.
It's clear.
And his players don't relate to him.
right.
They
and
hate
not
him.
at all.
No.
They love Francona.
They do. And you know what? So here's the mistake Tito made yesterday. Tito made the mistake in believing in his guys. He believes in his guys.
Yeah.
When the whole Cleveland media was screaming, get Straw and Hedges out of this lineup, they're killing us.
Yeah.
Aaron Boone was hearing the same thing in New York, and Boone made knee-jerk changes.
He did, certainly did.
Knee-jerk changes.
Yes.
He switched his shortstop out.
Yep.
And I was stunned by that. I
Yeah.
just thought, wow, what must the players be thinking in the dugout?
Yeah.
One mistake and I'm out of the lineup? Tito's not that guy. He believes in his players. He believed wrongly, but he believed that Civale was going to get it done.
Right.
I mean, he stayed with him for 4 hitters. It was 3 hitters too long.
It was.
And it is what it is at this point.
He the pool
All right, it's
bucket
11:30, so we've got to move on, and we got to
Yeah.
bring in Leroy Hoard. Leroy, pick us up, man. We're in a down mood because of what happened with the Browns Sunday and what happened with the Guardians last night. So you're a pick-em-up guy. Make us feel better about life right now.
Hold on.
The hardest thing to do in sports is to acknowledge that the other team was better, and I think when you see that, and the interesting stat of the Yankees batting 180 and hitting 9 home runs, like if you said to me the other team batted 180, you would say, hey, we did well.
Yeah, that's an L for the 180.
sure.
Right. So I just think they're not quite there yet. The thing that the Yankees hurt you with is there's 2 things when you watch the Yankees play. You want to get them to their bullpen, which is horrible. But if you can't get them there, and a lot of times what they try to do is score so many runs that you never have an opportunity for their bullpen to mean anything. And that's what they do. That's what they've done all year.
That's very true.
The Guardians weren't able to get them, to that bullpen in meaningful innings because of either the score or just not having the ability at the end of that lineup to have guys put pressure on the pitcher.
Yeah. Well, to that point, how many
so-
times did Clase pitch in the series?
Twice.
Twice.
And yesterday it was in a 5-1 game.
So if you don't have the
Pitched
lead,
once in a meaningful spot.
so the Yankees' mantra is get up early.
Yeah.
And in doing so, you keep one of the Guardians' best players off the field, and that's what they did in this series. Clase never
I'd
really had a
say-
chance to be a factor.
I'll put it in the context of football. Say if your secondary is terrible.
Y'all don't say that.
And the coach says, you know what? We're gonna blitz, so hope you don't get to that secondary. It happens.
Sure.
But you gotta have the horses to put pressure. And that's kind of where the Browns are right now, is that they don't have that inside pressure to do a lot of the things that they did in previous years. But I would say that if you look at what the Guardians did, if they didn't do it 1 through 5, the other guys weren't doing what they weren't hitting.
It wasn't going to happen.
And
yeah.
so now you basically got 3 or 4 outs to try again. So now you've basically shortened the game yourself when you only have 4 or 5 viable hitters. That just means you're not good enough. And kudos to the Guardians, because, man, look, they were fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that you knew that there were moments in the game that they weren't going to be that successful, and you can win, but just not against that team. And you just look, you tip your cap to the Yankees. You got us. We couldn't get you where we wanted to get you. And you move on, and next year you try to get better. It's not necessarily anybody's fault.
Yeah, that's true. And
You
remember,
know, it's just like
this Yankees team at the All-Star break, now I know they took a big nosedive the second
Yeah,
half.
they're like 30 games over 500.
At one point, I think they were in the
52
high
and
50,
18.
50 wins and in the teen losses.
Yeah.
Like they were rewriting
Right.
baseball history. They were on pace
Sure.
to demolish the regular season
Right.
win record. Now they didn't
Right.
accomplish that, but it's the same team essentially, same guys.
But guess what? A team, and I would be really shocked if they won the World Series.
I would too.
For all the things that we talked about,
Right.
because the further along you get, the more teams are going to have the ability to expose those weaknesses.
You're right.
And a longer series against the Astros.
Guardians
will
just
expose
couldn't
that
do
too.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
And
you're
that
right.
doesn't mean that there were poor decisions. That just means they weren't good enough.
Yeah.
That's all.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, because they only scored 1 run. So even if they score pitch Bieber, he's got to
Yeah.
pitch a shutout.
Right.
And is that
Right.
possible?
Right.
Yeah, it is. And, working with the bullpen too. But they scored 1 run. You're not supposed to win if you score 1.
3 in the last 2 games.
Yeah, and you're not going to win series doing
it's
that.
just and that's just it's one of those things, it's
Yeah.
it's kind of the when you see these teams that play sound, solid baseball, and then you get into these situations, teams like Tampa, where they play small ball and they do all the little things to just get them through a baseball game. Well, at some point you run into a juggernaut.
Yeah,
you
and
run
that's
into
what
a team
happened.
that's hitting well. You run into a team that no matter what you do, you are not better than the other team. I just felt that's where the Guardians were, to sit here and concentrate on and kind of micromanage all the decisions that were made. At some point, you have to just, look at that fact.
Yeah.
They were better.
You're right.
Well, hopefully the Guardians will be better next year. Leroy.
Yeah. Sure.
Let's you mentioned if you have a bad secondary. The Browns right now
Oh, man.
have a bad secondary. I mean, let's face it. They have a lot of they have good guys that are talented, but we thought Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, Grant Delpit, John Johnson would all be really good this year. And the only guy that's been good in that secondary is the rookie, Martin Emerson. The rest of the guys have been mediocre or worse, in my opinion. What say you?
Well, let's identify why. Okay. Last year, Jadeveon Clowney and Myles Garrett got after the quarterback at a quicker and quick clip. Pressure up the middle was a lot better. Okay. So what does that do? That helps your secondary. Your secondary can be more aggressive. Now, fast forward to this year, the pressure just isn't getting there as much. Jadeveon's been hurt. Myles has missed the game. He's fighting through some stuff. So there's more time to throw the football. I don't care how good your secondary is. You give somebody 5 seconds, 3, 4, 5 seconds to throw the football. Guess what? You can have the best secondary in the world. They can't cover all that space. And these guys haven't been used to covering a lot of space because of that pass rush up front. So what you have to do is that the hardest thing to do as a coach is to determine when is it time to try something different, or do you continue to ride your horses?
Well, I think it's time.
Because they'll
Yeah, I
get
think it's
better.
time.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I just think football is very simple unless you complicate it.
I agree.
And it works like this. And this is the basic fundamentals of it. If we can't protect the quarterback with 5, we use 6.
Yeah.
If we can't protect with 6, we use 7.
And if you can't get home with 4, you use 5.
Right, exactly. You have to change it up. You can't keep doing the same thing and getting torched say
that's insanity.
It's going to get better.
That is insanity.
Like at some point, and this is one of the things that I would always say about Bill Belichick. He don't care who you are. If it ain't working, he tweaking it. Because it's his job to win football games. And you might feel a little hurt. You might feel a little offended. But you can't deny what's going on the field.
So do you think it's time to tweak?
What I think it's time to do is this. I think that they can use the same 4 or 5 guys to blitz, but they need to be more creative with it. So, for example, I'd line Myles Garrett over center every now and then.
Yeah, why not?
Not for this reason. If you sit a guy in one spot, that offense is going to just come up to the line of scrimmage, identify him, and they're going to run their offense accordingly, right? That's the game plan. That's the way it works.
They're running away from Myles.
Take Myles Garrett and put him over the guard. All hell gonna break loose on that offensive line.
Yeah, you're right.
Because you make any changes, that's not what we prepared for.
But it seems so obvious. Why haven't they done it?
Because people are stubborn, man. I played here. I played for a coach that football was fluid. Football was adjusting to situations and circumstances during the course of a game. Some coaches don't necessarily believe in that. Some coaches feel like you have to have faith in your team that they'll get better at it. But I would rather make that decision to make some changes before you're like 2 and 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Leroy, let me ask you this. Now, coming into this game against the Ravens, you know, their pass defense is horrible. Do you put the game in Jacoby Brissett's hands, or do you just ride it out with with Nick?
Let me tell you something, man. I get tired. I'm tired of coming in here teaching this class every week.
Go ahead.
Right? If I'm going to a fight, I'm taking my best fighters and I'm putting them in the front. Right? Everybody else could get the leftovers. I'm riding my horses.
Well, I mean,
you see what I'm saying?
They kind of owe him that after not giving him the ball and kind of letting him they just kind of conceded defeat last week.
It's a crazy thing, man. It's like, get out of your own way.
That's what they didn't even attempt to run the ball. They just came out and said, they taking the run away, so we not going to do it.
Ridiculous.
Even before they tried to run.
That's what I'm saying.
Throw, interception, game over.
Here's the kicker. Here's the kicker to all of this. You have a running back whose claim to fame is he gets more yards after initial contact than anybody. Why are you afraid to have a situation where there's going to be contact?
I know.
You got the best at it. You telling me, here's what you telling me. You telling me I got Nick Chubb and a free safety coming down into the box. Just because that safety come down, you telling me, that safety gonna tackle Nick Chubb? I ain't giving into that. Do what you do. But for some reason, a team can just come down with numbers, put 9, 10 guys in the box, and then drop back 30 yards and fool Jacoby. Make them commit. Make them commit. You know why? Because you got that dude.
Leroy.
It's frustrating to me. You know why? I'm gonna do this right now. I'm gonna apologize to all Browns fans because I'm a Browns fan right now, and I hope I didn't put you through this. I hope I didn't put you. Holy smokes. I'm miserable.
No, you didn't.
I want them to win so bad.
You know what, Leroy?
But if I'm going out, listen, if I'm going out with my best up front. I'm not going to lose a game because I tried to trick play.
Leroy,
I'm not going to lose a game because I tried to fake punt or something or went for it on 4th and 2 at my own 30.
They got to find a way to win again, Leroy.
If I lose a game, I'm losing the game 4th and 1, ball on the 5, and I give it to Nick Chubb.
Well, Leroy, hold on 1 second. We got bad news on the Browns front. This just coming in. Wyatt Teller in a walking boot said his calf injury feels similar. A strain that held him out for multiple games in 2020. Said he probably will not play Sunday. So one of their, 2 best offensive linemen and probably their best run blocker out for the game. That doesn't help.
Well, it doesn't help, but you got a 53-man roster.
Yeah.
And we have Bill Callahan.
And if they had so much faith in Wyatt Teller last week, why they stopped running the damn ball?
There's no excuse for that.
All of a sudden you won't say he's important?
Leroy.
He was important last week.
Leroy, on that point, because that was the question that we had Monday. Why did you abandon the run? But it really wasn't why did they abandon the run. They came into the game passing to Pharaoh Brown and then an interception. It was literally like they had already succumbed to the genius of Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
He's going to stop us, so we're not even going to try.
Yeah.
And that, to me,
here's what happened.
is inexcusable that your coach is waving the white flag because the coach on the other sideline is better at scheming.
Here's what people say. You play Bill Belichick, he's going to try to take away what you do best.
Of course. And he does that.
And you know what I say to Bill Belichick? I got the best run game in the league. Come get some.
That's right.
Until you prove to me, and until you approach every game this way, we are the best at this. Come get some.
You're right. Even if they stop you the first 8-9 times, keep going.
And stop trying to game plan like a defensive coach.
Right.
See, a defensive coach game plans on all the situations and all the counters that they're going to do in advance. And what you do when you do that is you take the game out of your players' hands.
And you also tell your players you're not better than they are.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb is one of the best at what he does. Right?
Yes.
So let him do it.
Yeah.
And the message, Leroy, to Nick Chubb and the offensive line, when the game plan was clearly we're going to trick him with the pass, the message to Chubb and the offensive line is, we don't believe that you're better than Bill is at coaching, stopping what you do.
Ridiculous.
So we're going to go to our second best pitch. That's how you lose games.
I wouldn't go there, but I think a lot of times the way these things go, is you have a run pass check, and you're just counting bodies.
Yeah.
Right. So it might not be a situation where they're trying to trick Bill and take themselves out of it. It may be a situation where, and keep in mind, from an offensive standpoint, I've been on record as saying, defensive guys aren't the smartest. Okay?
That's a lie. That's a lie, Leroy. It's a lie.
Okay.
It's a lie.
Danger! Because somebody with motion. Stop! But I will say this.
That's so true.
Sometimes offenses are just as bad because they just count bodies.
Yeah.
And I would always say, I don't care who that body is. It don't mean he gonna stop me.
Right.
So sometimes you got to force the issue, especially when you're in a situation that you're in. Let's see if it'll work. Because guess what? 12 for 56, even if it's an 8 or 9 man box, that's winning. That's winning. And guess what? Here's the other thing that really got to me during the course of that game is that you let them determine what you were going to do based on just numbers in the box, but then they drop those guys out to still double cover guys.
Yeah, they show you one look. That's exactly right.
Guys, listen.
You can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
If you're committing to the run, we're going to make you commit to it.
Impose your will.
But if you're going to drop out, then you're going to drop out. But we're not going to let you have a two-way go at it.
Let me give you a quote. This is from John Johnson. Cameron Justice tweeted this. And because of Suits ruining things as usual, we can't put the tweet up. But John Johnson said this. It's a commitment thing. When practice is over, you can't just run out of the building. Leaders on this team need to get together. Something's got to change.
Well, that's at least a leadership comment.
But, like, all I hear from this guy is talking. I don't see him doing anything on the field.
Well, he's
calling everybody out. What's he doing?
Who's he calling? He's not calling anybody out. But here.
He's not? He's saying the leaders on the team suck. Why don't nobody have a team meet when they winning? What was that?
Everybody always have a team meet. Why don't nobody have a team meet when they winning? It's always a team meet when they losing.
Yeah.
What lose gonna do? The game was on Sunday. The game was on Sunday. Here's an interesting thought. Play better. You got a problem with the coach? Go have a side chat. You ain't got to be public about it. Go talk to Kevin Stefanski like a man. Hey, man, let's do this. This is what we do. You got to be able to have that relationship with your coach to discuss some things, long as you don't go at him. You see what I'm saying? So for everybody to have all these meetings and whatever, what you meeting about? What you meeting about? Tell me. Because the only thing that's going to happen is, here's what happens in these team meetings. Somebody going to get up there that probably shouldn't be up there to start off with. Right? And they're going to start giving an overall view of the team. And they're going to say, we need to do this and this and this. And somebody in the back going to say, what about you?
Yeah, exactly what's going to happen.
And then everybody going to leave the meeting mad as hell. It ain't nothing going to get done. Everybody know what you got to do. You got to play better.
Leroy, I just came out of nowhere.
Defense, stop somebody.
I just pulled up like the Ghost of Christmas Past. Look, they was like,
First of all, we're glad you're okay.
Yes, I pulled up like the Ghost of Christmas. Look, so here's my thing with John Johnson, right?
Oh,
see, they doing these. They good at it now. Y'all real good at this. It's on me.
Yeah.
We got to get together and be on the same page type stuff. Well, no. Let's get down to the base level of what's going on. You ain't making no plays, dog. I ain't seen no plays, bro. I think that there's a lot of people, you know, in the league, there's people that's in their gap and there's people that's making plays. These people just want to be in their gap. And the thing with these safeties is, I'm going to be honest with you.
Hold on.
Yeah, we're going to get right to them. Right to the safeties.
Whoa, go ahead. Speak your piece.
Let's get to these safeties. Now, look, if you not going to be stopping the pass, you can't be missing no tackles on the run. Okay. I don't really know exactly. They running jet motions and they going to the house. I'm confused. My thing is, if you're going to be out there, no, don't say we need to get together. Say, all right, can we tackle? No, we don't tackle very well. Do we know our assignments? No, we really don't know our assignments that well.
Can we communicate?
No, we don't do that either. Do we get turnovers?
Now you want to communicate. Now they want to communicate.
Now you want to talk.
Yeah, how about you communicate at 1 o'clock on Sunday?
Hey,
what do they do?
John Johnson's too busy sliding into DMs and fans.
Ty, how many coaches have said this to you? When we win, it's we, and when we lose, it's me. That means you work on yourself.
Yes.
Don't stand. Who on that team can stand up in front of the rest of the guys and say what we need to do? Right? Come on.
Well,
they don't need no team meeting.
And they
don't need no team meeting. We know. Like, next time y'all go on the field, just look at somebody and go, we know, dog. We know. Right?
No,
Let's get it.
That's the thing. But that's the thing, Leroy. You can't accept mediocrity out of your teammates. Like, that's the thing. I'm not going to go on a rant because the last time I didn't like the way I did.
Do it.
But you got to hold each other accountable. Like, they got to.
You do.
So when he says that people are leaving the building, all he's basically saying is that y'all come in and y'all do y'all job. If you're a real football player, you know that once practice is over, that doesn't mean that you're done. Like, you have to do the extra things, and that's what you got to go watch extra film. You got to do extra drills.
We heard last year how the Bengals defensive backs were meeting on Tuesdays.
Yeah, on the day off.
Days.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
To watch film together on their own.
And the way that this
They
defense
probably should have been meeting on Mondays too, because they had Eli Apple.
Hey, listen, we're not doing that.
Wow,
We're
he's
not
killing
doing
the
that.
Buckeyes now.
Eli Apple.
Wait a minute. Are you talking about the one that went to the Super Bowl and national champion Eli Apple? That's the one you talking about? First round pick Eli Apple?
And I'm gonna tell you why. You know why I got beef with him? He tried to trash my city. He tried to trash my city.
Yeah, he said who they is better than who that.
That's true.
No, he said the food ain't even that good.
No,
I replied.
Well, he's crazy
Wait.
there. I mean,
So wait, he sent out a tweet. He said the food in New Orleans is not even that good. I don't know why they so excited about it. I said you would have enjoyed the food if you had played a little better corner. Just saying. Food is great after victories.
All I'm gonna say is this: the man is in the league. He's a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's a first round pick. He's a national champion. He's been to this. That's more than a lot of corners in this game could play.
I'm not gonna never take away from his accomplishments. It don't mean I ain't gonna talk trash.
Do you?
One,
No,
he
you got
trashed
to.
my city.
He trash
And
talk
two,
us.
he went to
Well, not
Ohio
us.
State. What the hell you think gonna happen? I'm not gonna be nice.
Why not? You cool with me?
For reasons I explained. See, and he went to Ohio State.
Leroy, before we let you go, I've got one question for you, and it's a big one because the worst thing you can say about a player is the player has quit. Have you seen any quit in the Browns this year? Because that is always an indictment on the head coach. Are you seeing that or not?
I hate when people say that.
I know.
And I'm gonna tell you from this standpoint. Right? I want you to go in the locker room and tell Nick Chubb he looked like he quit.
Well, I would never say that to any of these guys.
Okay. But I want you to go on that defense. Now, see, we always think that guys can just give more effort and be better.
Not give more effort, just give all your effort.
I'll tell Kate York he quit. I can kick his ass.
You be surprised.
He'll kick you on the side of the head 4 times before you even realize you've been in.
62-yard field goal with Bull's head.
Kick you right in your chin.
No, so Leroy,
I hate people state.
Right, I understand that, but you haven't seen any of that this year. You think that everybody is giving max effort?
No, yes. I don't see anybody quitting.
Good.
It's
why I asked you.
They need to look, there's a difference in quitting and needing to be better. And again, the hardest thing to walk away from a Sunday after your team has played is to admit the fact that they were better.
Right.
Especially when you had a lot of opportunities. I'm telling you, I have never seen a team dominate time, yardage, and stuff like that and still lose games.
Right. Yeah.
The way they're doing it. And so when you say something like that and then you look at all the numbers of the game, it's hard to come to that conclusion other than they have too many timely mistakes and too many timely penalties.
And too consistent.
And it costs them, and they can't, right now, as this team is currently constructed, they need to be closer to perfect to have success. And you need to identify that. That's it.
2 minutes before the top of the hour, Leroy. 2 minutes before the top of the hour, so we wrap it up with this. What's the score Sunday and who wins?
I got to tell you, I don't know who's going to spit the bit first, the Brown or the Ravens. Because the Ravens don't want to win football games between their coach and what they trying to do with Lamar.
They both losing in the end.
Hey, don't it look like they sabotaging Lamar? They don't want to do too good.
No, that's a bridge too far. But
I know. I'm kidding.
It is interesting that contract situation is out there, and all of a sudden the Ravens are just not getting it done.
So who wins, Leroy? Give us an answer here, will you?
Yeah, we've got a minute 15.
Here, I'm going to go with the Browns because I don't trust what the hell they doing with Baltimore, because Baltimore just finding ways to lose. And I don't know how you shake that, right? I don't know how you shake that. But Cleveland not far behind them.
Maybe we should pick a tie. 0-0 tie.
Hey, here, under no circumstances does a Cleveland Browns Baltimore Ravens game end in a tie.
I agree.
Yeah, I wish.
I don't care what you do. I don't care if the league call it a tie. Keep playing.
Go out in the parking lot and finish
That's
it.
right. Thanks, Leroy.
Leroy, you're the best, man.
See you later.
Have a great
right.
week. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Leroy.
At least he's
Yeah.
picking the Browns to win.
pick the
I mean,
Browns?
that's,
Are you
that's
not?
good.
Tyvis,
I am not. No.
by the way,
Oh, man.
by the way, you see that big win against Penn State? That's it. That's it.
We'll
Go
see you
Blue.
in November. See you in November, my friend.
All right.
Yes, sir.
See you in November.
Thanks.
Hi, listen, I thought we escaped without him bringing it up.
I wasn't going to even say that about it.
From the grave, he's yelling.
What kind of control system he got? He put his best self back on. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I ain't going nowhere.
Tyvis.
He's back from the dead. We were
Hey,
worried about you this
McNuggets,
morning.
12 o'clock straight up.
We did it.
We did it.
I'm very proud of us as a show. We're going to do good bet, bad bet next. But, G, real quick.
First,
What
we're glad
happened?
you're
Yeah,
okay,
we're glad
bro.
you're here.
I mean, when a phone isn't being answered and we're not hearing from you, we were a mess up here.
There's two reasons. There's two reasons why you don't answer your phone, right? One of them is it's dead or you somewhere in a ditch somewhere and
Well,
you're out
that's-
here.
that's what our mind was going
That's
to.
what I was doing.
Or you're being interrogated by a police officer and he got the cruiser out there. You trying to just keep your hands right. I ain't doing nothing. I'm all good, man.
Did you go both hands at 10 o'clock
Listen,
on the wheel?
I went here, but I was looking, and I was just like, he came back up to the car because I'm like, all right, well, let me call these dudes, tell them where I'm at. It's like, they play. It's like it's 11 o'clock. They about to be like, this dude don't be late. You know how it is. Like, you know how when they got the 48 hours where they be like, he has to be missing for 48 whole hours.
And they interview someone and say, it wasn't like G. Bush not to tell us where he was. That's what we were saying.
It's not like him.
This is not like G.
And I'm in my head going like this, and then he pulled back up, and I don't know how he just morphed in front of me. So I'm going to get the phone, and I'm trying. He said, sir, what are you doing? I said, oh no, I'm good. Note to self. See, it's.
Oh, you mean you were pulled over and you went to
Yeah,
call us? Oh.
I was pulled over. I was gonna call him. I'm like,
Why'd he pull you over?
So he pulls me over. This is great. This is awesome. So he's like, yeah. So before, they just now sent me my title, right? So I had to go back to the dealership, and the dealership extended my 90-day tags, right? So it's till
You
November.
got a temporary.
Yes, temporary plate.
Yeah.
So before he even got up there, I told him, yes, they have to send me the title or whatever. They just sent it to me, but my plates are good, right? He's like, we go through license, we go through registration. Yeah. He done ran my credit, my background check, everything. He back there for, I'm like, what takes that long, bro? He looking tough. And then he's like, yeah, everything came back legit. I said, well, I wasn't driving fast. Like, what we doing? Like,
Well, did he say why he pulled you over?
He was like, well,
Are you still on those expired tags? Because
No.
you did have a date on your
I
tag
did
that
have
was
a date.
expired.
So I had to go back again. So I got the tags is all legit.
So
they have a
tags great.
So he had no reason to pull
So
you
what did he pull you over?
So
Is this a DWB situation?
listen, when I had that little terrible placebo car, I had a Mitsubishi Galant, a 2009. I ain't never get pulled over, boy. Now it's like Biggie Smalls, more money, more problems, bro. I'm like, dang, how'd you keep getting pulled over 3 times?
You've been pulled over 3 times?
Since
when?
3.
Since you got the new
car. 3.
Wow.
And then he says, and then this was the crazy part. He says, your registration, everything checked out, you got full. He asked me he's like, so where's the Nissan you have? I said, my wife's driving it. Why? Like, I'm supposed to have 2 cars on me at once. He was like, it was a problem that I had 2 cars. So you got 2? Yes, sir, I do have 2. He's like, well, you know what? I just think it would be safer for you to go home and get the title.
When does anybody ever ask for a title when you drive? I've never been asked for my title.
I thought it was license and registration.
License and registration.
You see, now I'm mad. Now I'm sitting here like, so what you mean? Like, you can't tell me I don't believe you own this car. Go get the title. So
You're not even supposed to keep the title in the car.
Well, in most
are you?
cases, if you don't own the car outright, you don't have the title.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I
got to ask that question. My title for my car is still technically back in New Jersey.
I don't have I keep my title in
Yeah,
with my records at home.
the bank has it.
Yes.
The bank got it.
So
until you fully pay it off.
So the thing is, lucky for me, I did have the title, right? So the title, they sent the title from the bank.
So they
sent it over.
followed you home.
So yeah.
Wow.
No kidding.
Wow.
Yeah, he tried to act like he wasn't following me though. He tried to circle around and act like it was like, oh, I'm just patrolling a little bit.
This Lakewood police?
This Lakewood. I'm patrolling a little bit. I'm like, this dude is really gonna watch me go home.
Here we go.
So I go up there, I get my title. I'm like, okay, cool. By that time, my phone is going crazy. You know, my mom watches the show every day.
Yeah.
She like, hold on, why you ain't on TV?
Yeah.
My wife didn't call. But I always say, man, at that point in time, you know, it did hit me, it clicked on me. He said, listen, man, don't do nothing silly. Just be cool, bro. You know, I want no problems, man. Like,
No, you got too much going on.
you got, it just, because you can go 0 to 100 real quick. And I was just sitting there and I was thinking and everything done flashed back and, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just thinking, I ain't gonna prove no point.
No, you got too much to lose.
I ain't gonna prove a point.
He never told you a reason why he pulled you over, by the way?
Nah.
That's a problem.
I think the Lakewood police owes G and us some answers here. What's happening?
Man, look, I mean,
And that's Lakewood.
and so my thing was this. You know, when you get pulled over, sometimes it's just like this, man. Just let it roll. Because at the end of the day, you got to think about it in terms from other people. I always say, if I get pulled over and certain things is happening, and I get pulled over, I need to have an example for other people that might be a little different. So when you pull me over, I don't got no problem because I don't got no priors. I don't got none of that. I don't got zero, right? But at the end of the day, there is other people that get pulled over and they might have priors. They might have something on it. You know, they could be perfectly driving, doing their thing. But if they get pulled over, it's a different situation. I know I don't got nothing to worry about. What's the worst that can happen? I get a ticket. What's the worst that can happen? Because I ain't gonna really say nothing crazy. But it's just one of those things where you always gotta, and I tell people all the time, as a black individual, you always gotta worry about, you just have to be conscious of it. Like it's nothing, you live with it. Like it's just like, you know, you always think you'll get pulled over, right? Mm-hmm. So that's just why my mom, at the end of the day, my mom and dad is like, look, when I want like speakers and loud systems and tinted windows, nah, everything I got is plain, regular. You just, you know, you say yes sir, no sir, whatever the case may be, and you just know what it is. So for me, I just, you know, the goal is if you pulled over as an African American, the job is to get to crib. So there it is.
And they didn't give you a ticket for anything, right?
No.
Well, I mean, what could they give you a ticket for? You were doing anything wrong?
Right, obviously there was nothing, and he had no reason to pull you over.
So like this,
That's the troubling part.
He was
they
in
have
a
to have a
Range
probable
Rover.
cause
He was in
before-
a nice neighborhood in a Range Rover, and he's black.
you can't.
He was driving while black. That's why he got pulled over.
And here's the thing too, when you have a car, right, and it's a car that people think is like, oh, well, who the hell is this? Mm-hmm. what you doing? Like that's the thing that's sometimes frustrating at times. So for me, you know, I done got pulled over like 2 or 3 times.
All in Lakewood?
Nah, this is different places. Okay. Just either that would be in going to Rocky River, because my gym is in Rocky River. So it's Rocky River. There's other different places, right? So each time I always laugh and joke because I try to not to bring it to a serious topic.
De-escalate the situation.
Yeah, I de-escalate. I'll be like, look, man, at the end of the day, they be going back there like, I got me one. And they're like, oh, yeah, he has full insurance. Like, or, oh, he has his insurance on him. Like, it just is what it is, man. So for me, I talked, what my wife did say, she was like, tomorrow? Take all the tags off. Take all of them off. All the tags. Go get the real ones.
You should go to the Lakewood Police Department and complain.
Nah, it ain't.
I'll go with you.
I'm for that. I want you to take Bull down
I'll
there.
go with
and
you,
have
man.
Bull get
I'll
some
have some
answers.
words to say.
Nah, man.
Hey, there's somebody out there in the Lakewood Police Department right now
I hate to say
that's
it.
watching this show.
I hate to say it, boy. That's just
That's
how
not-
But it shouldn't be. We shouldn't just say it's okay
But
and accept
it
this.
is.
It's not acceptable.
But here's
we've been trying.
And
We've
you know
been trying
what?
for years.
And you know what? There are a lot of good cops out there that don't do that crap, and they get and they should stand up to this too.
So let me show you this. Let me just tell you this, right? There's two ways you can look at life. You can be an example of how you do something, or you can be antagonistic about the situation.
a rebel.
So what I'm saying is, if you're an African American and you get pulled over, it's important to know what the protocol is, right? Because there was a split time where I got pulled over where I could have really got in my bag and being upset. I could have been really in my bag like, oh, I can't believe this, blah, blah, blah. But nah, sometimes you got to learn to de-escalate, right? There's a lot of people that I grew up with. There's people that were cops. There's people that are other different places. And the first thing they say is, at the end of the day, how are you going to handle the situation? There's a lot of times where you think it ain't right, but the part that you need to understand is maybe somebody else will take the same thing I did, right? I don't got to take my camera out and be filming. You know why? Because I know I ain't do nothing. I know I got my insurance. I know what the car is. And push come to shove, if you make me go back to a couple streets to get my joint, guess what? I got it.
At the end of the day, but you just want to get home, man.
That's all you wanna do.
Especially what's going on with all the police. You just want to get home.
I understand
I
what
just want to go home.
Of course, you did the right thing, and I get where you're coming from. But like, I don't know. I mean, you do what you got to do. But if you want to go to Lakewood Police, I'll go with you.
It's not that big of a deal. Like,
It is a big deal.
No.
It's
The troubling thing is that there was no reason given as to why you were pulled over.
No reason.
When a car is pulled over,
they don't need a reason.
they have to tell you what you were doing wrong. They can't. Otherwise, it's profiling.
No. They got to tell you.
Right, but they didn't.
They don't have to tell us.
so
No, that's nonsense right there. Okay, there should not be two different, and I know that there is,
But there shouldn't
that's
be.
not acceptable.
No.
And I understand your point is, I'm just going to get through this
Yes, I
situation,
get it.
and that's fine. But that's the micro, survive. But in the macro, there's an institutional problem if they're pulling G over and not even telling him why you've been pulled over.
Right.
It's your right to know as an operator of a motor vehicle officer, and there's ways to go about this, and I know you are very respectful, and I know that we've talked about this. I'm sure that when you're pulled over, license and registration, officer, why am I being pulled over? That's not being disrespectful.
Right.
And they owe that answer to you.
And
they can't just discriminately say, there's a black man in a nice vehicle, I'm going to pull him over. And I'm not going to tell him why I'm pulling him over.
And if that's happening,
that's not acceptable, Tyvis.
If that's happening in a progressive, somewhat diverse city like Lakewood, it's not that diverse, but somewhat diverse compared to the far suburbs, what the hell's happening in the far suburbs there?
Well, here's it, and I just always say this, right? Like somebody was saying this, I was listening to it probably about just as old time during the George Floyd situation. You know, when you're African American, right? There's rules of engagement you got to get through. There's rules of engagement, right? So, for me, I look at things as always a blessing, right? Because guess what? Now, hey, somebody might say, well, G. Bush could have probably got out of that. He should have raised his stink. He should have did this. Nah, because
No, you shouldn't have raised.
Not raise the stink. I don't agree with that.
Nah.
Yeah. You don't do that.
I'm saying
It's within your rights to ask questions.
what I'm saying is, for me, I know that what I could talk to him, and I know how to get out of it. I understand how to carry myself. What I don't want to do is I don't want to encourage other individuals, because there's sometimes where I see these pullovers, and it gets to a point where I'm like, oh no, just go ahead and just do your thing and get to the crib, right?
Right, yeah.
And Tyvis understands it. That's why you never ever want to bring attention to yourself and say, oh, I'm about to go talk to the whole police department in Avon Lake and Rocky River. Nah, because what I want to do is I want to fly under the radar. I don't even want to be, I drive here and go home. That's what I do. I don't want no problems. We all good. Y'all, listen, hey, if the police officer felt he had just cause or whatever the case may be, we good with it.
He should tell you what that is.
That we good
Did
with
you
it.
at least get his name?
No.
Because I think that's very important.
No. At that point, I'm just at that. CJ, this is the thought process. At that point,
I know. Get through it.
you ain't even thinking about it. You just.
So you want us to let it?
I would look at the. I would look at
I'm
the
really
badge.
angry for you. And
No.
for everybody else.
We
that happens.
we appreciate
I
it.
would appreciate it.
I would look at the
appreciate that for
badge.
sure.
I would get the name, and I would want to have a conversation
No.
with that person's boss.
It's just messed up.
No.
Say God
Hey,
says.
guess what?
Yeah.
He whoever he doing his job, and
Right.
guess what? We moved on, and at the end of the day,
Everybody home. safe.
everybody good. We good. Because if I
right.
got pulled over out here again, guess what? I got registration license and titles. Thank you, and good day.
All right.
Glad you're here, G. Bush.
Yes,
Yes.
we are. We're glad you're
Yeah.
safe. Good bet, bad bet time.
No, we're gonna skip good bet,
skip
bad
good bet,
bet.
bad bet.
We're gonna go to
no
fence
riders.
questions.
Fence
Let's
riders.
do no
Let's
fence
It's all
riders.
Cavs. It's all Cavs.
Yeah.
Cavs. We got some positive news after G. Bush, and once again, sorry that happened to you, man. Glad you made it back.
It's all love, man. We
back here.
good.
Let's raise the spirits here. Let's talk a little
Yeah.
Cavs. A lot of excitement around this Cavaliers team. We did
know.
no fence
I
riders.
know.
that.
Old
By
school,
the
bro.
way,
Back, baby.
by the
That's fresh,
way,
man.
Big
Back.
Nuggets,
Back.
while I was out here living my Tupac life, this guy comes with the whole.
Little
Wait,
something.
I see you.
Little something.
That's a sneak attack.
Look, starters jacket's coming back, baby.
I wore mine yesterday. He gonna get the Jays to go with it. See, Jay, he be cheating.
I know. This is raising the bar again.
Saying.
I thought you was finished.
I am done.
Okay.
But
Michael and I were actually looking at
Done.
Cavs starter jackets before the show, the black and light blue ones from the 90s.
yeah, with the net.
Those
Oh,
things
yeah.
are
With the
absolute
net.
fire.
They are. I got
Absolute fire.
How you gonna? I just had it on
Pair
yesterday.
of Jordan 3s
Yeah, I
trying
told
to
you it
chase
was
this
fire.
kid.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
you
no,
get me-
Ah.
you get me on my
By
flower.
the way, is there heat on in the studio
It's
for the
hot as
first time
hell
today?
It's hot as hell. I thought it was
could
a
be.
generation.
Because it snowed
Hold
last
on.
night.
Do
Is
we
it?
control the heat in this studio or no?
I'm not sure. It was leaking in our office upstairs. So
All
that's
I'm gonna
what-
say.
It's
All I'm
hot
gonna
as
say
hell.
is
issues
this:
going on.
Yeah, it's too hot.
you can't be hot when you this cool. That's all I'm gonna say.
Even with the jacket.
Hey, but we got 6 Cavs
Let's do
questions
it. Here we
that are
go.
on defense,
Look
and then we
at
got 2 afterwards. Let's get right to it. Not just you 4 answered, but everyone in the UCSS crew answered.
Wow.
A full participation grade. Polk got his questions in very late. He's not in the graphic, but he did send the answers.
Polk even getting in. Look at that.
Even Polk getting in on the action. So, Steve, let's take the first question here. Will the Cavs have 3 All-Stars this season? It was a split result. And, G, you are the lone person on set today that chose. Take it, Steve.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had to
Thanks,
pick
Steve.
yes because I picked no.
Yes.
Ah.
Jason had
yes,
3
too.
too. Explain yourself, G.
Well, this easy. It's easy money. Darius Garland was already an all-star, right? Tyvis knows how this game works. Being an all-star and being all-state is one thing. My dad always told me, if you make all-state as a junior, they have no choice but to put you as all-state as a senior.
That's about right.
You understand? Oh my God! Don't let you make it as a sophomore. You ain't got to do nothing. No tackles, no production. So he's already Darius Garland is already all-star. He will be an all-star again, and he got a max deal, so people think he's crazy. Now, Donovan Mitchell is if he averages anything over 23. Anything over 23, they're going to be pressed to put him in there, right? Because he's a 4-time All-Star, 3-time All-Star. He has a new jersey out. People say, oh, look at this new look Cavs team. It's the Donovan Mitchell effect. They just already flexed one of the games, the first 2 games in November, put him on national TV because guess what?
go.
They have those. And plus, he's going to shoot a lot. And then so 3,
Evan Mobley.
Evan Mobley, you ever notice?
Replaces Allen.
Yes. You got that up-and-coming dude, right?
Allen, what Mobley an all-star last year?
No, he
No.
wasn't.
He was
No,
the
he
rookie.
was not. Rookie
He played in the
All-Star.
Oh, Allen was the all-star.
Allen was
Yes.
the All-Star,
Okay.
yeah.
So Mobley will get what I call that up-and-coming love. Like they'll just be like, this guy in 5 years. How they used to talk about Giannis?
Yeah.
This guy, you play against Kobe or LeBron. This
Well,
guy.
they was right about that. So go ahead.
I think Allen falls out this year. Mobley's a year away.
I agree with
The
that.
Two guards are
yeah,
in.
and that's exactly what I have. I think
Yeah.
Mobley probably is just
1
a
year.
little bit away.
he has
I
to
think
get.
the offense won't quite be there yet. for
Yeah,
him to
I'm
get
with
become
you.
an all-star.
How
I'm with you.
many-
And those numbers,
How
a lot
many
of guys
guard
don't see.
all-stars is it? 4?
What's
Like
that?
point guards? Is it just the top 2 point guards in the East?
No, it's just
No,
the
it
but that's
varies.
the starters,
Yeah,
and
it's
then
the
the
starters,
bench can
and
be
then the
whatever.
bench can be however they want to construct
Yeah.
the team.
I don't know. I don't know.
But I'm with you. I think
Yeah.
Mobley
I
might
got
be a
2.
little bit away yet.
I got 2 for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I have.
He has to get to about 19 and 10.
Did
I just
Jason
think it's
tell
gonna
you
be
which
hard
3
for
are
him to average
going or no?
19 with all the talent
Jason
they
did
have.
not tell us which 3 were going, but I'm assuming he's picking Mobley based on the rest of his answers.
I am
Right,
too.
yes.
Yeah.
By the way, the Guardians lost. The Cavs start their season. We do have a Cavs post-game show
That's
tonight.
right.
G. Bush, Bull, Earl, and myself are hopping on after the Cavs game. Make sure you guys tune in. Up
I feel like
on
we've done one every night.
How did the Guardians post-game show do
It was
last
not
night?
bad considering they lost.
Yeah, I mean, not anywhere near the Game 3
walk-off
walk-off
winner.
winner
Yeah.
numbers.
Well,
but
that'll
not bad.
be
I
all-time epic.
thought the best part about it was I thought our numbers picked up towards the end because we just got into, forecasting what the Guardians are going to do moving forward.
Yeah.
And so I asked Bull a question, I was like, hey, give me a splash guy we probably won't get.
Ohtani.
And he threw out Ohtani, a splash guy we ain't going to get, but you can theoretically make it work in your mind. And after that, it was dope because people started calling in like, Bull, can we get this guy? Can we get this guy? People start going in off saying, hey, I got my super chats. Hey, let me ask Bull. I don't want to wait. Let me ask Bull about the situation. And I thought that was the best part.
I like that. That's
And we're going to
pretty
do that in the coming days, too. Don't worry. Make sure if you guys haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. We appreciate it, and make sure you do it again.
You got to
for-
ring the bell because
Yeah,
then
ring
you
the bell.
know
It's
when we're
important.
doing a live post game, when my podcast comes out, all this other
Or
stuff.
breaking news.
Breaking news.
Like if the Guardians sign Ohtani,
beyond.
They go
We'll
on.
break in. I
We'll
promise.
I'm
break in.
going on.
Break in.
They get on Tiny, I'm getting on.
I'll show back up at the studio. Forget that. I'll get on the camera.
Yeah, that's
All right,
right.
you guys ready for question number 2?
Yeah.
Question number 2 involves the one, the only Evan Mobley. He did not average a double-double last season, so the question is, will he average a double-double this season? Another split answer, and 2 people on today's set said no. Let's see it, Steve.
oh wow!
Nope.
I
I thought
this
I
was-
said no.
Allen gonna take
You
it
said
away
no to
from
that.
me.
You
I
said
got
yes to that.
I got him with the double-double.
Allen gonna take them rebounds away from me, man, and then Lopez gonna take them rebounds away too.
It is tough to average a double.
But they lost
Average
Markkanen.
it. He gonna get it.
Yes.
Sure.
They lost Markkanen.
Here's the thing. In the starting lineup, you're going to replace Markkanen with either Levert or Okoro, and those guys won't hit the glass as much as Markkanen.
Nope.
And he averaged, what, 8.5 boards last year?
Close
Yeah,
last
8.5.
year.
Yeah.
He was
He gonna,
he's only
he
gonna
gonna
average-
average. He gonna average 9.5.
About 9.
It'll be close.
9. It's gonna be real close.
It's
but it ain't gonna
9.6.
be
We're
10.
rounding up to 10.
I think he's going to
Because
average.
9.6 is double digits.
It is.
I think he's going to average like 17 and 10 this year.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
Plus, you got to think about it. Kevin Love averages about 14 and 8 off the bench.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, like that's a lot of rebounds.
It's
And
gonna
then
be
Lopez,
very
too.
close, but I don't think he's gonna get it.
Although
That's the whole
Kevin
point of
Love,
picking these
from
questions.
more and
It's not
more, is
supposed to be easy.
off the glass shooting threes.
Yeah, he's a spot up shooter at this point.
If he does, I love the Cavs' chances to work into the top 4.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have them right now in the East.
I
don't
got them
have
at like
in the top
5.
4.
I
I
got
do
him
too.
five,
I have them at 5.
I got him 5, 6.
If Evan Mobley, it may not happen this year, it might be more the year after, but if he takes like a Darius Garland type of offensive jump, then forget about it.
Oh yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
when that happens, there's no limit.
Yeah, well,
to
if that's
this
the case, if Giannis get a jumper like Steph Curry, forget about it.
He's sneaking in Built Bar, bro.
I think that's a bigger leap
Evan
than
Mobley-
Evan
Is it?
Mobley. Yeah, Evan Mobley
Is
is
gonna be
to
a
me,
good
he's a
offensive player.
slumbering giant who's just
Giannis-
waiting
Giannis-
to explode
Giannis
offensively.
All right,
scored a
everybody
step
loves
back
Giannis, it's
3
fine.
for the
It's
game and hit it.
You said Steph-like 3.
Let's not get nuts.
That is nuts.
That is nuts.
Next question.
Question number 3. Our only 3-3 split.
Ooh.
Will Donovan Mitchell finish the season as a top 5 scorer in the NBA? Steve, let's see the answers here as we were dead split down the fence with Tyvis, Jay, and Brad saying yes, Jason, Bull, and G saying no.
Yeah,
I don't see how he can't be. He wasn't last year on a team with less talent around him, so I don't see it.
Yeah, 25. You got to think, like, so let's look at the. I watched LeBron and LeBron. Giannis.
Yeah.
Steph.
Doncic.
Luka.
And Jokic, right?
Jokic. He'll probably average 26,
Jokic.
27. We forgetting about
Durant.
Kevin Durant.
Durant,
Right.
He's going to be up there.
Embiid,
Yeah, I think it's hard. Top 5 is
Embiid
hard.
averaged dang near 30 last year. You got Jason Tatum. It's too many.
See, here's the thing, though. I know I reverse engineered what you said.
Okay.
You said he scored all the points last year and he didn't have any help. He had to score.
Right.
I think this year, because he's not the only option in the offense, and there's other guys that can
He
score,
gonna be scoring.
I think that's going to open the door for him to score even more.
I agree with that. That's what I thought.
My guess is those two things will balance each other out.
And he'll score exactly the
He'll
same.
score about the same.
I
agree.
You're right.
You're right.
You're
What
right.
you're saying is right, but it's also there's so many good scorers that not everybody's going to be able to average. A
I
high
think
amount
you'll
of
have
points.
more open opportunities, more
Yes.
available.
Yeah,
That's
true.
what I think.
That's
too.
true.
Because just if you look at when
They
you're
run
a
a-
He's also
one-man
got
team,
better guys to pass to.
But the difference
does,
is,
but-
he ain't got to be the facilitator. Like, he can actually work
But he
off
will
ball.
be sometimes.
Well,
I
yeah,
think they're going
but-
to take turns to some degree. Being
But when he off ball, like, he can do
Yeah,
cuts
sure,
and
then he's going
they
to
gonna
the
hit
basket.
him.
McNuggets said something. I was watching during the season, regular preseason, and he said something that I thought was really truthful. They got to learn. It takes a while for them guards to learn how to work off each other.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
it
when they
does.
get the
It
rock,
does.
like so, I saw him a lot of times when Garland had the ball. He gets into the lane and he likes to run pick and roll, high hand off to to Allen and Mobley. So he has that connection. So sometimes you see him in a corner just chilling, like or at the top of the key.
You talking
posted
about
up.
Mitchell?
Mitchell, yeah. So, that's to be expected. If they can get out a run and get some easy baskets early, that's cool. But it'll be a work in progress. They're not going to be like in mid-season form.
Well, it's looked clunky at times in the preseason.
Yeah.
And then 2 minutes later, it's looked like they've been playing together forever.
Yep.
And that's what happens when you put a group of guys together that even one new part, it takes a while before they all mesh together. But I don't expect it until really December.
That's why
I think after Christmas, you're going to see a different Cavs team
And that's
this year.
why I got him 5th/6 because of what you just said.
Right. It will take
It's
time.
gonna take some time.
Next year, though, look out.
Yeah.
Next year,
I
look
think
out.
I'm with Brad. They need they need one more piece.
The East is
And
loaded,
they-
man.
Yeah, it's over.
It is. It's tough.
I mean, if you guys watched Boston
Philly,
last night.
I know. It's terrifying.
They split 35. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
I
man.
was saying-
We got two dudes going
Back
for
in the day,
35.
they said that's going half on a baby.
It's unreal.
35
Man,
apiece. And then it was crazy
The
because
Brogdon came in. It was perfect.
I thought I thought they was going to slide a little bit because their coach was gone. Oh, he's
missed
out
the
of here.
beat.
He's
Yeah,
out of
he's
here.
done.
Hey, he might as well go get them unemployment papers.
It is one game.
I thought the same
It is
thing.
one
According-
game.
It is
one
It
game.
looked good.
According to
going
Matt
nuts.
Barnes,
But
he
it's
going
one game.
anyway.
Yeah, look,
It's not like we
Barnes-
didn't know the Celtics were going to be good. I mean, they went to the finals.
No,
No,
but
but
No,
I
they
thought there
look
might be. I'm
good.
with you. I thought there'd be a little drop off with
No,
the coach.
they
My God,
they in mid-season
Well, but
form.
there
They
might
look
be.
like-
It was one game. I mean,
I know.
you know,
They could come back, but it was kind of
The
scary
East,
last
the
night.
East on paper is the best it's been in forever.
I think it's
In
been
forever.
And LeBron,
Yes.
There's like 8 or 9
the
good
Lakers
teams.
look terrible. What's the next
Lakers
question?
look terrible.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get to
Yes.
the full East after fence questions. So
Yeah,
hold
go
your
ahead.
thoughts
Le-
on
LeBron
that.
might be back
Next
by
question
Terrible.
is this, and we kind of just alluded to this. Is the combo of Mitchell and Garland the best 1-2 punch
No.
in the Eastern Conference?
No, come on.
That was the one
Someone
question.
said yes, though.
I thought
Someone
you.
said yes, let's
I
see
said yeah. I thought you meant guards.
No, you do.
I thought you meant
But-
guards.
Yeah,
Like
that-
backcourt.
No, it's just
If
the 1-2
it's
punch.
just a backcourt, maybe.
I
No,
would listen
if
to the
you go-
discussion for backcourt.
Yeah, I
would
thought
get-
that. I thought
That's
you
what I thought. I texted Mikey. I said, "Do you mean just
No,
just
1-2 punch
backcourt?"
is just
The
two best
only
players.
the only
Yeah.
backcourt that can mess with them two is Atlanta with Murray
Atlanta.
and,
Right.
and Trey.
I agree.
and-
I agree with that.
And I
And
don't.
we talking, but we ain't talking backcourt.
No,
We
we're
talk-
talking
Who and
1-2
Trey?
punch.
DeJounte
Murray.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
I don't know if they got them. I don't know. I don't
It's
know.
close.
Trey
It's
and Murray.
close.
That's what I'm saying. It's
That
very
would've been
close.
a better question.
I thought it was backcourt, right?
The
'Cause-
best has got to be Embiid and Harden, right?
That's not a backcourt.
KD and Kyrie.
No. Just
Oh,
the
you talking about
the best duo.
KD and Kyrie.
No, it's Giannis and Middleton. Stop playing with me.
No, I'd still take KD and Kyrie.
Yeah, but KD and Kyrie can't be trusted to stay on the
No,
court. though.
I know.
Giannis
You're right.
and
If they can both play up to the max
Giannis
potential,
and Middleton.
which is a big if, but if they can, I still like them better than
if
anybody.
we're saying no injuries, max potential, I'd say Harden and Embiid.
Giannis
at
and
this point.
Giannis
I'd
and
still take
Middleton,
KD
and I ain't hearing nothing else.
well,
No.
Middleton
Middleton is not as
Yeah.
good as the other second guys.
You
Now-
Says who?
KD and Kyrie,
That's
you've
just my
got two
opinion.
bona fide superstars.
I will. Have
Middleton is underrated. I'll give you
He's
that.
a great player, but he's not
a superstar.
He's not in
Why is he
KD. Or,
not?
Have we forgotten about Steph and Clay?
No, he said
No,
just
he's in
the
the
East, though.
Eastern
Oh, oh.
Conference, just
I don't even know that Clay at this point is, I would say more Stephen Poole now.
That is kind of.
yeah, we don't know what Clay's going to be
Hey,
long term.
Jordan Poole was out there
post-injury.
pulling that thing.
But hold on,
yesterday.
hold on. That's so crazy. I said,
They
bro,
got such a good team.
all it takes is for you to get punched to get that off. He just coming down. He shot a three. He was coming down leaning like half court.
Yeah.
The second one. He just
Draymond Green was like, yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
You know what's funny? Andrew Wiggins looked like he was becoming a bust, and he just got reinvigorated with Golden State. He was awesome.
A lot of people do that
Andrew
at Golden
Wiggins
State.
is the reason that they are really good.
He's good.
He defensively is really good, and his offense has. I mean,
I don't like
Still
that.
love to see the game.
He does what he's asked to do
Listen,
in Golden State.
they-
He was being cast out of position
Yes.
in Minnesota as a
Absolutely.
scoring option.
the Lakers
But championship teams need that.
Yes.
Like,
Exactly.
they
The
need
perfect
that
fit for
guy
that
that
stage.
understands his ego is in check, and this is what we need you to do here, and he does it.
And outside of Popovich, Steve Kerr's the best coach in the league. So
the Lakers ain't making the playoffs.
I will
this
say
year.
one thing.
Ooh, that's bold.
The Lakers ain't making it this year.
I'm actually kind of with Tyvis on this one.
That's a hot
Absolutely.
take, bro.
The one thing with basketball, and this goes for bench guys, your stars, I think the best ability you can have in basketball is knowing what you're good and what you're not good at. And guys who get put in a situation where they're pigeonholed and say, hey, Andrew Wiggins, you are not a guy who's going to shoot 30 times. You're going to play defense. You're going to rebound.
Yep.
You're going to make open shots. He can excel in that role on Minnesota where they give him free, laissez-faire range to do what he wants. You see what happens. He can put up a lot of points, shoot a terrible percentage.
He's not going to
He's gonna
carry
be
a team, but
ineffective losing player.
he'll be a hell of a role player. And but I mean, I hate to say that the season's over before it starts. And I know it's a one-game overreaction, but I got Boston and Golden State. And I got Golden
Whoa!
State.
You got
Way
who at the
overreacted.
East?
I
Wait,
do.
we haven't even seen Milwaukee play.
What
I
is
know.
wrong with you?
Like, I'm
In fairness,
Talk
you're
to me-
accusing
talk to
everybody
me
of
in May.
overreacting, which is true, Mike.
to me in May.
However,
We will
you
talk in May.
telling you.
I can't believe you right now.
I put it out yesterday before
Okay,
that
fair
they're
enough,
gonna make
fair
the
enough.
playoffs.
Because
Boston.
you know what? You falling for out of sight and out of mind.
Yep.
Giannis
Maybe.
going. You see how they dropped 35? Giannis going for nothing less than 40.
Write it down.
All right, got two more fence
Heard it here
questions. We'll
first.
wrap up the NBA stuff.
Yeah.
I also think the Lakers make the play-in and losing the play-in, but still technically make the playoffs, but not really. All right, next one,
If you
Steve.
lose in the play-in, I don't think you technically make
You
the
are not
playoffs.
up like the
you
Cavs
didn't
last
make
year.
it.
The Cavs did not make the playoffs last
Then I
year.
don't think the Lakers make the playoffs. then.
Okay.
This is our one unanimous answer, and I'm shocked because
Yes.
when you look at how this equates, I'm not sure where you're going to find those points. But will anyone on the Cavs bench average more than 12.5 points a game? And everybody on the panel said yes.
You should ask, well, who is it then? Which guy do you
So
have?
that's my
Right.
question. Who do you got
Yes.
then?
Yes.
I think
Levert's going to
yes.
start tonight. So
Levert, we don't know.
Yeah,
that
but we
for
don't
sure,
know
do
that
we?
for he's
He
not
ain't
going
gonna
to.
be
We
the
don't know that
starter
he's
the
going to be a
long term.
starter for the season.
Right. It could be. I think Kevin Love.
That's
I
who I
thought
have.
Kevin Love
That's
too.
who I
That's
have.
exactly
Kevin
what I
Love.
said.
I think Kevin averaged somewhere like 13.8 and about 7.9 rebounds.
Hey, six-man
and
award
DeRozan.
material. I'll take it.
And Kevin Love, by the way, is kind of easy for because he shoots threes now. Like he comes in and he has the green light, so he's doing 3 for 2. Like he's not a back to the basket guy.
Right.
He's gonna come in. Look, what did he average last year?
13, 6, and
Oh,
7,
there you
2.
go. There you go.
there's just a lot fewer shots to go, or that's an oxymoron. There's way fewer shots to go around now with Mitchell on the court, no matter how you break it down. Even on the bench unit, because one of those two will always be on the court.
I mean, Colin Sexton used to shoot a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, he shot a lot too.
Now, he didn't have to contend with that last year, but I just think he's going to be, again, you talk about role players. You talk about Wiggins and knowing what his role is there. One of the things, Kevin Love's career in Cleveland is going to be one of the most wild books you'll ever read. Because when he came here, he was expected, obviously, to help carry this team to a championship. He was part of the championship team, but now he's making a ton of dough. This is his last year, right?
Correct.
He's making a ton of dough, but he's asked to do far less than he's ever been asked to do here. But he's able to do that and do it well when he's in. He's maximizing his minutes.
I'll bring him back.
I'll bring you back too.
Would you really?
Now,
Obviously, at much less money.
Yeah. I want
Much less money.
I've swung the pendulum way back when he kind of got in there with Colin Sexton and he threw the ball in bounds.
That was my turning point. I wanted him out.
I was like,
Yeah, I was like, get him out.
Yeah, I said, get rid of him.
He's awful.
Yep.
And now you're like, what a great veteran he is.
I know, because, well, he's changed his tune.
Yes, the
he
culture,
turned it
man.
around, and to me, this just goes to show you, anybody can change their approach and the way they think about it, right? Like I don't know what happened. I don't know. They sat him down for a little bit. They told him you're not gonna play in a game or two, and he just went back and realized, hold on, man, hold on. I think sometimes he got really sucked into the whole LeBron Kyrie thing, and J.R. Smith and all that. Like back then, the Cavs had a lot of big personalities, and people was just doing what they wanted to, right?
Right.
So you win a championship, you the last guy here. He figuring that's the leadership style I gotta show. LeBron would be vague. LeBron would call people out. Kyrie would just not talk to people for a while. Kevin was like, okay, well, how do I lead this young team? I got this contract. What we doing? And I think he got caught up in that and then had to realize, well, let me just be me. Let me be the way I am. I don't got to be loud and vocal all the time. Let me just show these guys some love and put my arm around them and turn into a guy who I am. And so now he went from a dude that won a championship to a dude who everybody in the city hated, and even his teammates.
Hated.
To
now we love
them being the best teammate, and I actually think he'll get his jersey retired.
I agree.
Yeah, I think he will.
It has been an amazing turnaround for him. I was talking with Chris Fedor yesterday for my podcast, and I asked him about Kevin Love. I was like, what happened? He was like, well, he signed, and that was on him, right? He knew he wasn't going to get the money somewhere else. But he was miserable because the team sucked.
Yeah, that was obvious.
And the young guys, he felt like they didn't know how to play. Like, he was a veteran, and he knew how to play, and he was playing for championships. Now he's around all these young kids. They don't know how to play the game right.
Yeah.
And he got frustrated, and he admitted he's too emotional, and it got the best of him. And now that these guys have kind of come into their own, he's enjoying being a part of it.
You know what? It's very hard to overcome a moment like that.
Yeah.
That can be career defining.
Yes, 100%.
And to his credit, he flipped the script.
He did.
And now he's this guy who is a facilitator, a role player. I think he's the mentor. He's the leader that this team needs. It's a bunch of young guys with no compass.
Him and Rubio,
but his
which
compass,
is why
Rubio's key too. You're right.
Chris said Rubio has made a massive impact on Garland's career.
Yep,
he's made a massive impact on Mitchell's career when they were together. All these young point guards that he's played with, he's had a massive impact.
They love him.
Love him.
It's a great mix.
They love this
really
guy.
Is a great mix.
12 months ago, we would have all given away Kevin Love for nothing.
For free.
I know we would.
For nothing just to get him out.
Just
12
trade him.
He was
Trade
still
him. Get him
and
all
now
money.
I'm not trading Kevin Love.
You're right.
You
You're
want to
right.
keep him.
You know who I felt that way about? I felt that way about Tristan Thompson before he left, like his last year. I wanted to get rid of him for so long, but his last year, I was like, man, he is a leader. And
I hate all this Kardashian stuff.
Off the court, I ain't got nothing to do with
Stay out of
that.
the back.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing to do with the off the court stuff. We talking all court.
He hasn't done it. Like, I don't know what team
Invisible
he's on
Man.
right now.
I don't think he's playing. All right, McNuggets,
go
what's
ahead.
next?
We have our last question here. This was another tight split, and this one leads us right into the next part of our discussion of where will the Cavs end up this season.
Yeah.
Will the Cavs win 51 or more games in the 2022-2023 season? We had a 4-2 split here, but we'll let the deniers go first, as Bull and Tyvis said no.
Wow, Bull.
Jason, Brad, and Jay said yes.
It's only because I got them with 49 wins this year.
I got him with 48
48.
wins.
It's not that far,
It's
right?
because the East is so tough.
It is. Like, I can't believe y'all sitting there saying it's not, though. Like,
And guys, here's the thing. I wouldn't be surprised if they had some growing pains early in the season.
No, I think they will.
Right?
I got growing pains. People get hurt. It's just like 48 just seems like the number.
That's in this East.
In the
48,
East.
49 wins.
That's
hell of a
that's
season.
how I say
good.
it.
And that would be
I'm
top
going
6.
52 and 30.
I got 50, 54, 55.
You know what y'all problem is? Y'all falling for the paper roster.
No, I'm not.
No.
I think they're going to be around 500 or even perhaps below at Christmas. I think they're going to figure it out after Christmas. They're going to give them 25 games to sort of get their thing together and figure out who's who, because there will be some moments. There were some preseason moments where I'm like, wait a minute, what am I looking at?
Like they can.
Hey, G, real quick. You just said 54, 55 wins. When we were making these questions
That's
earlier
a
this
lot.
week, I asked
lot,
Anthony,
man.
like, what's a good number? I had it at 50 first, but that was too low. Do you know how many teams in the NBA won 55 games last year?
1, 2.
No, I'd say four or five.
Dose.
Wow, they're a lot
is
150 though. There were a lot between 50
That's a
and
lot.
55.
There was 5 in the Western Conference between 51 and the Warriors, who were the top seed. But
Right.
only 2 teams in the league won 55 games. It seems easy to say that on paper.
Who was
Who
was the 2 teams? Do you know?
Golden State?
I'll tell you in one sec. Golden State and
Boston?
I'm pulling up right now.
Phoenix?
No, it wasn't Boston.
Well, Phoenix might have.
Phoenix.
You'd think they would both.
Milwaukee?
Milwaukee better.
No, it was Memphis and Phoenix. Sorry, Golden State
Oh,
only had
Memphis.
53 wins last
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
Memphis
Miami won the Eastern Conference. with 53 wins.
Wow.
So
Steve
That's
is
nuts,
hilarious.
55 is a lot of wins.
if you
and
say
the East is so good. This is
48.
a game every night.
48 wins, 49.
That is, I'll give it to you like this. You look
49 wins could be a 3 seed. I mean, it could
Well,
be.
what was it? Well, they were all bunched together last
Yeah.
year.
The
though.
Cavs-
I
the
mean,
Cavs-
Miami and
Do you want the Eastern Conference standings real quick?
I think there
I'll
were
just run it down.
5. Weren't there 5 teams within
Give us
like
the
3
top
games?
5 teams.
Yeah, Miami had 53 wins. Boston was second with 51, which broke a tiebreaker with Milwaukee and Philadelphia. Those 3 teams all had 51 wins.
Oh, yeah.
And then
So,
Toronto
so there
had
were 4
48.
teams in the East with 51 last year.
All right.
Right.
4 teams in the East with 51, correct.
And then Toronto 48. So if in theory, if the Cavs won 49, they would have been the 5 seed.
Yeah,
Now-
which is where I think they're going to be.
Now think about it. Last year, before the playoffs or before the All-Star break, the
They were
Cavs
playing great.
Was
The Cavs
the
were the
hottest
2
team.
seed.
Yeah.
And then they had all those injuries.
They had all those injuries.
Exactly.
The Rubio injury,
Yep.
and then they got a bunch of other guys
Garland
hurt.
got injured for
Allen
about 2.
got hurt.
Allen
That's
down
not
the
even
stretch.
including Sexton
Also,
missing the
I
whole
felt
season.
last year that the Cavs were putting too much of an emphasis on defense in the regular season.
That's another thing.
And that wears you out. And I've had NBA coaches say the young coaches think that you can come out here and coach like it's college. The players, the veterans all know, bro, we can't keep this up for
Right,
82
right.
games. We're going to die. It takes a
Yeah.
lot more energy to play defense than it does to play offense.
I think we all agree. I don't care exactly how many wins they get as long as they're not in the play-in round.
I agree with that.
I don't care.
Oh, listen, if they don't finish in the top 6, I'd be shocked.
Right, it would be disappointing, but
Yes,
you never know.
very.
The only reason I'd say it's a possibility is just that the East is so good, and you never know with injuries. But they're a young team. You think that would help them in terms of less likely to get injured than some other teams?
Here's why I have a tremendously high, like ceiling on these guys. Is because they're the only team that I know that have 2 erasers. Like they have literally,
and Allen.
Yeah.
they got
Yeah.
2 7-footers that block shots.
What is
at a
Robin
high-
Lopez? Just a rebound getter now?
I mean,
He's a nice.
I don't know how many minutes he's going to play.
Play, right.
Yeah.
10 minutes a game.
Well,
probably.
he'll be able to spell guys
But-
in that role, protect
Yeah.
the rim, and that's a
That's
great
big.
point. Well, have 2 of those guys?
Yeah, that's
The
big.
NBA's
Yeah.
gone away from that.
And now you got a guy in Mobley who can switch off, and if he switches on the guard, you're not losing nothing. He can guard a guard
Right,
if there
he
are switches.
can guard anybody.
And so you got 2 of those dudes
Say anybody.
like that are going to erase whatever the smaller guards do.
Yeah.
If JB comes out and he emphasizes that they should play defense strong, like because last year I thought that's the reason they got to where they
Yeah,
were.
yeah.
They defense.
But playoff time, everybody plays hard. And then you see
they
that
do.
jump.
Yeah.
Them playing games that you saw KD and Durant, you said, we'll wait to get to the Hawks. Even the Hawks had turned it up because Trae Young wouldn't miss.
Right.
So it all depends on what they can come out and if they emphasize that and if they can find somebody in that 3 role.
Yeah.
But in terms of scoring, they got scoring.
We got to
They
be
do
careful,
that.
too, throwing dirt on G. Bush because we had this same conversation about the Guardians before the season.
Yeah.
And we thought that they would play meaningful games in September, but none of us had the Guardians making the playoffs, but you did.
92 wins.
I don't know how you had 92 wins.
And he got it exactly right.
I thought when we had a discussion the week before
That
in our
was
practice
fluke.
that I was the only one that said that they would be in the mix.
92 is
You changed your
that's
mind.
a hard number to fluke.
That was
No, that is-
fluke.
87 is
impressive.
87. If you say, they're going to get 81 wins, okay.
So did you?
Nostrabuscious.
So wait, the question he had yes to 51.
Yes, he had over 51.
over 51.
Oh, I like to lay
By the
lay
way,
cash down on that one.
By the way, that was funny as hell what you said.
By the way, did you know that there was a movie called Hardball and one of the characters was named G Baby?
Of course.
What
I talk
is
about
wrong
that all
with
the
you?
time. Like that's G Baby.
Well, we were talking about that before the
He
show
got cute too.
because Michael B. Jordan, that was his first role.
G Baby, yeah, of course, that's the hardball, bro. That like
Compass, baby.
That Nelly was on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had the song Hardball.
Now here's the thing.
Yeah.
Over 51 wins.
Yeah.
Think about it.
I'll lay
LeBron's
cash on
that
that.
one LeBron team. I was at home in the time machine a little bit when LeBron won. I think he won the MVP that year, and they won 66 games.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
How the hell did that happen?
Yeah, I know.
And it was funny because they was the whole time. These games wasn't close. They was just getting. They was doing N1 mixtape moves. And people was all them choreographed moves LeBron used to do in the
Oh, yeah.
corner. They
Yep.
was joking. They all on the floor. I'm like, who did they have?
Who was
on-
the second best player on the Cavs?
It was Mo Williams.
Mo Gotti.
Oh my
Mo
God.
Williams.
It really just tells you how good.
Delonte West.
Has anybody won
Ira
ever won that?
Newell?
Has any team ever had a better season with that little talent player
No,
2 through 50?
it's
I
not
don't
possible.
think so. Not that I can
Not
remember.
since the 60s.
66 wins.
Milwaukee.
Do you understand? They never lost to nobody, and there was teams all over. I was watching them. I said, I don't understand. Prime LeBron, we'd be like, he's good. Like you go back and you get reminded.
You think that LeBron was better than Miami's LeBron?
Remember the playoff
Miami's
game
LeBron
against
was-
Detroit where he scored the last 25 points?
LeBron in Miami.
Miami's LeBron was
And
that was the best player in the world to me. I ain't gonna lie to you.
LeBron, by the time he was in Miami, then when he came back here again, his basketball IQ was just off the charts.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Off the charts.
Yeah.
And I would say, to me, the best I've ever seen him was like the 2018 LeBron. Like you really got to see, like 2018. Nobody went on the team. When they got Isaiah Thomas
still went to the
and
finals.
Dwayne Wade, and then they brought them all in and then cut everybody and traded everybody.
They did
were
him
a mess that
filthy.
year.
His
Jay
last
Crowder.
year, they
Jay
did him
Crowder.
Oh, I
filthy.
like Jay Crowder now.
They got rid of him, and that
Jay
year,
Crowder didn't like LeBron.
that year, LeBron was like in the playoffs. He just was like, okay, Toronto, I'm gonna beat you by myself.
He did that to everybody.
Celtics, I'm gonna beat you by myself. And he was just doing it with like, I don't know. It was impressive.
I think like he averaged a bunch, and his next person, I think in the finals it was like he averaged the most, and it was like all 5 of Golden State. Then the Cavs was next. It was ridiculous. Yeah, dude was crazy.
By the way, do you? And this is kind of go ahead.
No, you good. I got to do what the internet says next.
Okay,
You finish your thought.
Steve said, was Miami LeBron better than Giannis? Nobody's better than Giannis.
Stop it.
We have not
Stop it.
We have not talked about this. I didn't notice that that during this year, LeBron's gonna break Kareem's record.
Yeah,
He could.
well,
They said if he averages like 20, they kind of amateurized it through.
No, here's what what they didn't factor in was missing time for injury.
Yes.
Guys, that happens when you're 30,
Yeah.
when you're almost 40 years old.
I think he's done it like the past few years. He's got hurt.
He's got
He's
hurt a
missed
long
time, yes.
Yeah.
And the law of averages is the older you get, the more games you're going to miss. He's, let's knock on wood here. Of course, he's not ours now. He's never had that catastrophic injury.
No, he's not like the Kobe.
And that's
Achilles.
bizarre for a superstar that has as many miles on his body as he does. Kobe had knees.
Kobe had the knee.
Jordan
Kobe
even
the
had
Achilles.
some knees.
Yep. So everybody's had Dominique, Magic,
And you
of
look at the
course.
size of his, I know he's got a big frame, but to think that the miles he's put on his body, because at 18 he was playing 82
he's
games a
mastered
year.
recovery.
It's stunning. I think one of the most incredible things about him has been his durability.
Yeah,
That's the context of him getting the scoring title, right? I mean, that's one of the biggest, like we talked about Judge and the home run title. Or
I didn't think anybody would ever break Kareem. I did
didn't
not.
I did
just
not.
didn't.
Never.
never. And the fact that
He had a move that couldn't be stopped.
I know he did.
they
He
said
did.
It was a bucket every time.
Every time if they wanted it.
They was like, you can't dunk the ball no more. Like, we just gonna not let you dunk for a
We're
little
going
bit.
to change the rules.
Now,
Yeah.
do you like? And to me, I always look at it like that's a rule. That's a record that would never be broken. I just want to see how people view it, because there's always been this thing where, if you mention Jordan or you mention LeBron, basically they just put it out.
6-0.
They put it out
4-6 versus 6-0.
Yeah. So if he's a guy who is known to be a passer coming in the league, but then became the all-time leading scorer, it's crazy to me to think like this dude really broke Kareem's record.
Because he's facilitated so much. And the 6-0 and 4-6 argument, I know that everybody says, well, it's got to be Jordan because he was 6-0. Look at the teams that LeBron was able to take to the finals with the rosters that he had. He
terrible.
made 10 finals.
Yeah.
So everybody says 6-0. Well, what about the 13 where he didn't make the finals?
My only argument, I think I agree with your general principle that it's unfair to just grade the finals.
Yes.
I will argue though that Jordan had to get through tougher teams in the East than
That's
LeBron
a fact.
did.
No, that's a fact.
Yeah.
And that can't be discounted.
Right. Mhm.
But still, this guy has taken 3 teams
Yeah.
to a total of 10 NBA finals.
Right, and some of those teams had no business being.
My God, remember the first team he took there?
Yeah.
They got swept by San Antonio.
I think
Go
he
look
had
at that
like 2 or
roster.
3
I mean, it's crazy.
It's terrible.
Booby
It is
Gibson.
absolutely terrible.
We love Booby, but
No, Booby was a great guest.
what do you have, bro? You got
as 2 shooters. We've got to do some internet comments real quick. Whenever we read some internet comments, you know who it's brought to us by. It's brought to us by our good friends at PCC Airfoils. Are you looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? PCC Airfoils is the leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Mentor,
You gotta
Wickliffe,
go the other way,
Minerva.
G.
They're hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up.
I was
Plus
like,
a full benefit package, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. Today's what the internet is saying.
PCC, making the world. I can't remember the lyrics.
he lost me. I didn't know where he was
trying to
going.
know where he
Remember that
was
song
going.
Right Here, Right Now by Jesus Jones?
Oh, yeah.
was trying to do it, but I
Right
couldn't
here,
think of the
right
lyrics.
now.
That's hard to remix.
I know, that was tough.
Yeah.
That's
I dropped the ball on that one. Sorry.
Well, today's internet comments come to us via Super Chat. This is from Spawny Images. He says,
Of course.
although a loss was a bit heartbreaking, especially to the Yankees, I believe the Guardians laid out the blueprint for other teams to follow. And then Jake Evans.
What do you mean laid out the blueprint?
What's
What
the blueprint? Just don't let them hit 9 home runs.
Beat the Yankees? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm just reading comments,
All
guys.
right.
Jake Evans says, what's the Guardians prospect pool looking like in the next 2-3 years? I think, Bull, you alluded to it
Fantastic.
earlier.
Number
Fantastic.
3, according to MLB.com,
Sensational.
number 3 farm system as of the
Loaded.
All-Star break.
Sensational.
Barbecue chicken.
Barbecue chicken alert. Barbecue chicken alert.
And Bo Naylor is their 5th number 5 prospect, so maybe he's their starting catcher next year.
And there's no more comments, but we had planned to do a little Guardians recap, season in review, to end the show. So we got 15, 20 minutes
I
left
say
if
we
you
just
wanna
get to final thoughts at this
get
point.
final
Wait a
takes.
minute.
That's my vote.
Before we get to final takes,
Yeah.
I got something that I want to say.
Yeah.
This is serious.
Okay.
Look,
Everybody knows that I'm a Giannis fan. It's this kid, this Victor kid out of high school that's 7'4" that could
Wambaya?
Victor
Yeah.
Wembanyama.
He might be better than Giannis.
Is he going to be the greatest player of all time?
He might be. I just wanted to get that off.
Where's he playing?
And you heard it here first.
He's in France.
He might. Listen.
I've been hearing a lot about him.
7'4",
Oh, I know.
He's legit.
can
Now,
handle
all
the
these
rock
teams are
and
getting tanked
Let me tell you, I know
Man.
everybody can get crazy nuts over him right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring up one name. Greg Oden.
Sam Bowie.
Hey,
Because of the
Sam
knee-
Bowie.
the
No,
knees.
Sam Bowie was dope.
feet, ankles, knees.
He's
When
really
you're-
big, this guy,
When
right?
you're
He's
that
7'4".
big, I know, but when you're that big,
I
Yeah.
know.
Tyvis, he's already had
The
knee
stress-
surgery too, by the way.
I know he
He's
has.
Already,
I know he
So you
has.
saying Giannis might be safe? Is what you saying?
He's safe for
How
now.
tall is Giannis?
7 foot, I think.
7
I
foot
thought it was
now.
7'1".
He's 7 foot.
Okay.
All right.
But I would just that would be my caveat.
Yao Ming.
Some team will draft him number 1.
Yao Ming
for
had a
sure.
good career, though.
He
No, he
did have
did.
a, but
He did.
he
Yao
could.
Ming was a hell of a player.
He was.
Fantastic
He was.
player.
God
There are a
was
lot of 7-footers that had great careers.
If he-
Patrick Ewing had a great
No,
career.
when you're
You
over
know.
7'1" and 7'2",
there's statistics that-
I start holding my breath
Yeah.
because those are the guys that have the ankles, the knees, even the hips.
We saw Z.
It's tough, man.
Z, people don't understand. When Z came into the league, they were saying Z was one of a generational type big man.
Wait, what's wrong with Z? Hold on.
No,
He was a nice player.
serviceable player.
He broke his foot like
We're not
14
mentioning him.
times.
Z,
Yeah.
Z.
He was a nice player.
Everybody like
You know,
to talk
Brad
about.
Doherty. Brad Doherty had a hell of a career.
Yep.
His
He
career was
retired
cut
early.
short.
Yep.
He had
Everybody talk
foot
about
problems.
LeBron didn't have no help in 2007 or whatever it was. Like Z didn't play on the team. Like Z.
Yeah, but he wasn't
getting
an
buckets.
Okay, so
was
let's
getting
how many
buckets.
does Jordan and Z win together?
None.
Thank you. Thank you.
Zip zero.
Come on, let's not make him
I think the
Scottie
better
Pippen
question
here.
is where would Z rank in the talent around Jordan? You know, if you put him on those teams.
Oh, right.
Hey, guys,
I mean, he
here's
had
a
Scottie
stat.
Come on,
Pippen.
Ty, just keep it real,
He won
bro.
all his championships with Scottie Pippen, one of the greatest players ever.
Top 50.
And Horace Grant, an awesome big man at the time.
A lot of good role players.
Yeah.
A lot of good role players.
Tyvis, this is a stat from Kevin O'Connor of The Ringer, based on your boy Victor. There have only been 26 players in NBA history listed at 7'3" or taller. 26. Only 7 have had noteworthy careers, and you could debate how noteworthy some of these are.
Yeah, you guys remember Manute Bol?
Yeah, of course.
He's actually not even on that list. It is Yao Ming,
Okay.
Ralph Sampson,
George Marshall.
Arvydas Sabonis, Big Z,
Good player.
Okay.
Rick Smits, Mark
Good
Eaton,
player.
and Kristaps Porzingis.
Who was the one before Porzingis?
Porzingis
Mark
that
Eaton.
tall? I thought he
Mark
was
Eaton.
7'4".
Mark Eaton was really good for the Jazz. With the,
No, he's
Wait a minute,
he's
how tall
talented.
is Porzingis?
7'3".
7'3".
I didn't realize he was
I
that
thought
big.
he was just 7 feet.
No, Porzingis is a giant.
Rick Smith, when I was
Porzingis is a
like a
giant.
teenager, that was a hell of a player. He played with Reggie Miller and
Pacers,
those guys. I mean,
yeah.
those are-
They
And
faced
also,
teams.
of that list, only Smits and Eaton did not miss significant portions of their careers due to
And
injury.
Ralph Sampson was a good player, but coming out of college, Jay, I know you know this.
Jay,
like Ralph
it's a
Sampson
different
coming out of college, you thought he was
time.
going to be.
Ralph Sampson.
Ralph Sampson out of college, you thought he was going to be an all-time
Listen,
great.
Ralph Sampson
he
and
go,
Elijah
LeBron gonna take him
Now,
under his
he was a
wing.
good NBA player,
Yeah,
but
teach him how
not,
to
yeah.
take
he
care of
wasn't
his
Elijah.
body.
Now in Virginia, he was the man. Like Ralph Sampson in college was a
He was incredible in
super
college.
problem.
But in
yeah.
the
I
NBA,
gotta-
he was a good player,
I gotta
not
look him
like
up.
an all-time great.
You
You got to look him up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you're too
will
young
say
for
this: when people start,
Houston,
when
Google
people
it.
start telling me about an all-time great, I don't know who this kid is, but you got to think about it. If you're gonna say he's gonna be an all-time great, that means that even if he is better than Kevin Durant, he's still not the best. Think about how high of a bar that is.
I know. Labels can kill guys,
Kevin
man.
Durant is 7 foot and he don't miss. He don't want MVPs. He get 30 in his sleep. He one of the greatest scorers of ever to lace him up. So for this kid to be the greatest of all time,
He got to be Kevin Durant got to be a more facilitator.
but that would mean that this kid, you saying he gonna be better than Durant, and I just don't understand how you can even get that far. Like that's
See,
hard.
Tyvis also said that the Guardians' fix for next year is to sign him. So Tyvis
They got
is
people.
the master
Whoa,
of hyperbole.
if they got people at the bottom of the batting order hitting zeros in the series, what worse am I?
Tyvis Lee can steal some bases, right?
What worse am I? I could get one. I get on. Listen, I'm gonna lay the bunt and I'm gonna get to first base.
Hey, you feel like
Flat out, because I'm fast.
Tyvis be jumping in front of pitches. Son, you can't do that.
Hit me.
Dive in front of the plate.
Son, no, that's
We
not
got
right.
ice.
That's fine, as long as I get on base, and then I'm
All
gonna
right.
steal all the way to third.
Let's get out of here. Final takes, Bull.
All right, guys, in honor of my man Tyvis, I'm going to talk about Giannis today in my final take.
Whoa.
You know,
You put some respect on it now.
often in professional sports, we love to, well, I don't, but we love to highlight the guys that do the wrong thing. Well, Giannis is a guy who always does the right thing. Not only is he a great player on the court,
Preach, preacher.
certainly not better than LeBron or Michael Jordan yet, but he is one of the
He said yet.
best player in the NBA right now, probably. Giannis always does the right thing off the court as well. Every time he's respectful to fans, he's respectful to the media, even if sometimes some members of the media don't deserve it. He's humorous, he's interactive, he's humble. I mean, when we think of like we talk about Nick Chubb all the time and all the things we love about him, and Giannis is that same type of guy. He's all about business, but he's so great with people. And I can't even remember if I may have told the story on the air or not, but and he recently gave a press conference a couple of weeks ago where he talked about, you know, they were asking why are you so humble and blah blah blah, and he, like, his teammates love him, everybody loves him. And I'll tell this story again, even if I may have mentioned it before. I have family friends here that are Greek, and they were in Greece this summer. They spent 6 weeks in Greece, and one of the kids was wearing a Giannis All-Star jersey. And they were just, the family was out, and the kid, who's, I think he's like 11 years old, gets a tap on the shoulder. And that tap on the shoulder was from Giannis. He's like, you're wearing my jersey. And the kid was like he was like, didn't even know what to say to him. Eventually he calmed down. Giannis brought over his wife, or I can't remember if it's his wife or his girlfriend, I don't know. But
They're married. It's his wife now.
He's married, okay. He introduced his wife. He talked with the kids. He signed the jersey for him. Couldn't have been nicer. And this was not even them going out for him. He went over to the kid. Giannis gets it. Well, so many people, not just players, so many people in general are all about me. He's about everybody. He's a great example for all young people of every race, every nationality, everything. He, by all accounts, even though I don't know him personally, appears to be a great guy. And too often we ignore the great guys and hype up the guys that make a lot of noise. So kudos to your guy Giannis for not only being great on the court, but off the court as well.
Real quick, Bull, if you haven't read his autobiography, I will lend it to you.
I haven't.
Not the book, not autobiography, the book written about him by Mina Fader of The Ringer, I believe. But phenomenal. Unbelievable. He could not be a better dude. Seriously.
His story's incredible. I mean, he
Easy to
grew up-
root for. Very easy to root for.
Yeah.
Tyvis is the president of the Giannis fan club.
Yeah, I got
so
you there.
This is his favorite
tell
final
him that
take
you
ever.
said
Saving that
boy.
one for a day you were here.
I'm gonna tell him that you said that. For me, mine is strictly about the Guardians. I just want to take the time out to say thank y'all so much for an amazing season. I know it didn't end the way that we wanted with us winning the World Series, but that's all right, you know. This season, y'all showed grit, determination, and y'all did not quit. It was so many times as a casual fan where I would turn the game on, see the score, turn it off and say they lost. Come to find out, y'all found a way to rally at the end and win. And to me, that shows that Cleveland spirit, that Cleveland attitude where no matter what the situation is, you fight to the very end. And I think y'all guys did that. So I respect y'all. Y'all make me so proud to wear this Cleveland hat with any outfit that I wear, although it never matches with anything that I'm wearing. I'ma always wear it because it always shows that when you from Cleveland, you got heart, determination, and you fight to the end no matter what. So salute to y'all.
They did represent the city well.
Yes, they did.
And you know, the baseball, like every other sport, the 29 teams seasons will end in disappointment in baseball.
Yep.
But the Guardians are one of the few teams that when it's all said and done, they could still say, we had a hell of a season.
That's
Not
right.
a lot of teams can
The
say
Yankees
that.
lose to the Astros this season was a colossal fail.
Dodgers.
The
colossal
Dodgers.
Fail.
That's a
Colossal
fail.
fail.
Yeah.
Braves. Fail.
Mets. And we just talked about over $1 billion in salary.
Yeah.
Between the Dodgers, the Braves, the Yankees, and the Mets. Over $1 billion. And this team spent around $60 million.
I would
Million.
say the only fan bases where you can't complain about your season are the Guardians, the Phillies, the Padres, and if the Astros win the World Series.
You're
That's
right.
it.
Yeah, you're right. I too was going to focus on the Guardians. Much of what I had to say was exactly what you just said. I mentioned this earlier in the show, and I'll come back to it because this is the one thing that you didn't talk about. We have taken the Guardians for granted in Cleveland. They consistently make the playoffs. They consistently win. They're always 500. In most of Tito's seasons, the vast majority of them, they've won 90. And if you win 90, you're in the mix. Tito is a baseball treasure. I know he's taking it on the chin today for his decision not to go with Shane Bieber. It was the wrong decision. You don't need to belabor it. You're not going to make every move perfectly. You're going to make some mistakes along the way. His mistake was he believed in one of his players. He believed that he was going to go out on the mound yesterday and give his team the kind of effort they needed to stay in the game. He was wrong. Let it go. Don't run this guy out of town. He is a guy who probably is thinking about retirement. He has had some health issues the past couple of years. If you want to see apathetic fans, wait until this fan base has to deal with a post-Tito Francona era. It's not going to be pretty. I'm sure they're going to find a good guy. I'm sure they're going to get it done, but he's not going to be Tito. So Tito, and to the Guardians players, all of them, 17 of which had never played Major League Baseball until this year, to the best front office in baseball, and in particular to the fans that came to the postseason games. I wish we had that kind of support throughout the regular season, but hats off to the Cleveland Baseball Organization for giving us one hell of a ride, giving us reason to believe and to have hope and to even be proud of our city. You guys were incredible, and we'll be back watching you next year, rooting for another great season. Thank you.
If they raise the payroll and bring in a couple of players, I think it's never going to be great attendance in the regular season, but I think it'll be up a little bit next year.
Their attendance jumped big in 17 from 16.
Right.
16 was about where it was this year. We were
Right.
lower this year than they were in 16.
Right.
You finished about 27th in the league, 28th in the league. We're at the bottom.
Yep.
2017, they signed some pieces. They had
Yep.
a lot of hope coming back, and their attendance saw a huge jump. We were
Right.
middle of the pack. They can do that, but I know the fans want to see more commitment
Right.
from payroll, and I think they're in a position to do that now.
They extend some of these young guys and bring in a few guys, I think you create some buzz going in.
They had 4 home playoff dates.
Yeah, that helps.
I went to the team shop and bought something every single game that I went.
Right.
I went to 3 of the 4 games.
Yeah.
Each time I waited a half hour to get in to the team shop. The cash register never stopped singing.
Right.
The gates, the turnstiles, the money. They made a lot of money in those 4 home dates. and I hope they do the smart thing and reinvest it in more talent.
And I'm gonna tell you what, I see y'all kept rolling some designs out. I got my eye on a brand new Letterman jacket. Man,
I did see some
I
nice
seen
Letterman.
one too. Now it's like
Nice.
$250 for the one I'm talking about.
It's like
but that bad boy tall.
I said, oh, I don't know. I thought we was done buying clothes, but we might see. Who knows? But shout out to the Guardians, man. I want to talk about. I'm going to pivot. First of all, shout out to everybody that watched the Guardians post-game shows, man. That was a real treat. And I really loved it because you get to expand your horizons, man. There's a lot of times where we might not necessarily take in the most games. You might not necessarily be watching baseball all the time. And even though I played baseball in high school, I think right after we threw out the first pitch, I was on the field and I was telling Jay, I said, man, they bring back memories. It's just different. Like by playing football, basketball, baseball, there's a different feel you get when you step in an arena in any of those areas. So, it kind of sparked my, that passion a little bit. And doing the post-game shows, baseball is a sport, you got to watch the whole game, because there's so many ins and outs. There's so many small little nuances about the game that you might not necessarily get if you're just looking at box scores. So for just watching all of the games in the series, I think it really sparked a passion, and it really, invigorated me. And so, next year there's going to be, you'll have another person that will be watching Guardians games a lot more often, right? I found myself today waking up looking around like, okay, who the Guardians got? And I'm like, dang, they out of the playoffs. So shout out to everybody who supported the post-game shows. That was great because there's a different crowd in there. It was a different Guardians crowd, which is different from the Browns crowd. And then we pivot tonight. The great thing about sports in Cleveland is we get to pivot. And you got another young, exciting team with some full of guys that's great to be around and happy dudes and really talented guys. And so now we get to watch that journey and think about it. We, as Cleveland sports fans, have now got to watch two teams start from the bottom, grow their team through the draft, add, and break expectations. Because the Guardians this year were the Cavs last year, right? We didn't have any expectations for the Cavs. Now, hopefully the goal is the Guardians do like the Cavs and bring in that one extra piece in order to bring it all together. So we're excited to present the post-game show to the Cavs tonight. Young team, we just pivot and keep going to the next one. I really think it's one of the best times to be alive as a Cleveland sports fan. The Browns suck up a lot of oxygen in the room, but we do have two young teams that are really playing the game right and really enjoyable to watch.
Browns could learn a lesson from these two teams.
Yeah.
The Guardians and Cavs, I was saying this last night, and maybe it's not fair, but the Guardians and Cavs seem like very likable groups of guys. Whereas the Browns, outside of Nick Chubb, there's not a lot of
Jacoby Brissett.
I'm not. Yeah, I have to mention Nick Chubb.
Amari Cooper.
There's a few guys fine, but there's a number
up
of
and down
guys
the roster of the Cavs and the Guardians. It's like, how do you root against?
I got no
these
beef
guys?
with anybody.
Nobody.
No.
They're all cool people.
It's like, and it seems like they love each other and they have great chemistry.
Yeah.
And the Browns seem such just pieces.
You know what, though?
Like just pieces.
Win on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I think it's a
then it turns it
winnable
around,
game.
sure.
I'm not picking them, but it's a winnable game.
That's messed up.
You're coming around, Jay's coming around a little bit.
No, all I'm saying is, you're trying to take a page out of Bull's book.
Sick for not picking them.
If you get the why would I pick them after what I saw last week?
I don't blame you for
I
not
picked
picking
against them the last 2 weeks, and they lost the last 2 weeks.
Because the law of physics says that when the ball drops, okay.
The law of Browns trumps the law of physics.
When you bounce a ball, it goes down. It has to hit the ground at some point. Last week was rock bottom for the Browns.
Oh, was it?
So now they have no choice but to go.
If they lose on Sunday, Tyvis,
They going up.
Isn't that cute that he thought last week was rock bottom?
That is cute. It's real cute.
That's cute.
It's cute.
You haven't been in Cleveland very
Go
long.
Cavs, baby. Let's go 1-0.
Maurice Clarett on the show tomorrow. A big day coming. And watch the Cavs post-game show tonight.
And subscribe to the YouTube page. If you're watching on YouTube right now, click the subscribe, click the notifications. We are on a 22-hour break. What's this say? The 2022 script was something special. The youngest team in baseball, a divisional. Yeah, we forget that. Youngest team. They would have been the youngest team in AAA.
Yeah.
92-win season while peppering some grit. Boy, that's well written.
Now let's have a good offseason. Go
Congrats to the Guardians, baby. Congrats to the Guardians. See you tomorrow. Enjoy the Cavs tonight.
Yeah, I'm excited.